Chapter 561. It was also her first time seeing Lin Xian make a move. She didn't expect this weak youth to have such terrifying strength. Fortunately, she didn't make a move against Wu. Otherwise, the consequences would be terrifying. On the side, Wang Ling's eyes flashed with excitement. Just as she thought, Lin Xian's strength was on par with the young leader. Perhaps he was a little stronger. However, if the two of them fought, both sides would be injured. At that time, they might even perish together. At that time, they would have an absolute advantage because in this battle, other than the young leader and Lin Xian, only Grandma Silverflower's strength had reached the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. At that time, they would be the rulers. On the other side, the young leader also calmed down from his shock. Good kid, I didn't expect you to hide your strength. Looking at your appearance, your true strength should have reached the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. His expression was grave as he tightly gripped the blue broadsword in his hand. However, don't think that you can defeat me just like that. That attack was just a casual attack. You being able to shatter it doesn't mean anything. Next, I will let you know my true strength. I will also make you regret being born into this world. At this point, a powerful aura surged from the young leader's body. It was very sharp and slashed in all directions like a heavenly blade. A powerful aura surged from the young leader's body and slashed toward Lin Xian like a heavenly blade. Blade intent. Wang Ling was shocked. This blade intent was too strong, as if it was going to tear the sky apart. Grandma Silverflower also had a grave expression. In the battle just now, she was suppressed by this blade intent. Both of them were late-stage spirit-detecting realm martial artists, and she had been in this realm for decades, far surpassing the young leader. Logically speaking, her battle strength should be stronger, but the opponent's blade intent was too strong. She couldn't withstand it. Now, this terrifying blade intent appeared again and slashed toward Lin Xian. According to Grandma Silverflower's deduction, Lin Xian couldn't block it at all. Blade intent? 70%. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes, and a trace of disdain appeared at the corner of his mouth. Although the other party's saber intent was incomparably sharp in the eyes of others, in his opinion, it could not withstand a single blow. After all, even Yi Linyun, who had comprehended sword intent to the phenomenal stage, wasn't a match for him, let alone this young leader. Since the other party was courting death, there was nothing he could do. Thus, when the blade aura slashed down, he did not move in the slightest. The surrounding injured cultivators were grinning maliciously. In their opinion, Lin Xian must have been scared silly. Wang Ling cursed in her heart. What a piece of trash. She originally thought that she would be able to contend against the young leader, but she did not expect that she would be so weak. Seeing this scene, she was extremely anxious. One had to know that Lin Xian's battle prowess was a part of her plan, and the current situation was likely to cause her plan to fail. The young leader sneered. His saber intent was extremely tyrannical. Even martial artists of the same level would not dare to forcefully contend against it. It was impossible for a small martial artist at the middle stage of the spirit-detecting realm to withstand his saber intent. Humph, you still want to fight with me? You're courting death. The young leader snorted coldly. Looking at the blade aura that was rapidly approaching him, Lin Xian's lips curled up slightly. Then, he slowly reached out his hand and clenched it slightly. This palm seemed slow and casual, but it was extremely fast. Moreover, he was grabbing at the weak point of the saber intent. Therefore, in the next moment, the shocking blade aura suddenly trembled and shattered like a mirror. What? He actually shattered the blade aura? That's impossible. Everyone was stunned. That was a blade aura that was infused with 70% saber intent. It was extremely sharp and could even threaten a martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. However, such a powerful attack had been shattered so easily. How did that kid do it? Who is he? The surrounding martial artists were shocked and subconsciously retreated. They no longer dared to look at Lin Xian. Wang Ling was also stunned. She felt her mind go blank and could not breathe. The young leader's pupils constricted. His eyes were filled with shock. He knew the power of this move. With the opponent's strength, it was impossible for him to withstand it. How did he do it? The young leader was extremely puzzled. Then, He stomped his foot and quickly rushed over. Blue blade aura. The young leader swung the blue blade in his hand. It formed a dazzling blue blade aura that enveloped Lin Xian. The terrifying saber-intent soared into the sky as if it could cut through everything. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He did not intend to waste any more time with his opponent. His body swayed as he used the illusory demon steps. His speed was extremely fast. He put 2 fingers together, and a sword aura flickered on his fingertips. He pointed out with his finger. It was as fast as lightning and as shocking as divine thunder. The green sword aura flashed and cut through the blade aura that filled the sky. Then, it pierced into the young leader's throat at an extremely fast speed. So fast. No. Can. In the next moment, the blade aura and sword aura that filled the sky disappeared. The young leader's body trembled and his pupils gradually dilated. The tyrannical aura on his body was quickly disappearing. There was a finger-sized hole in his throat and blood was flowing out crazily. He stared blankly at Lin Xian before collapsing. Even in death, he did not believe that this middle-stage spirit-detecting realm youth could kill him in one move. Silence. It was terrifyingly quiet. Everyone was dumbstruck. They only regained their senses after a long time. The surrounding martial artists and guards threw away their weapons and knelt on the ground with a plop. Their bodies trembled as they begged for mercy. Wang Ling's heart was beating wildly. Her face was filled with shock as her chest heaved up and down. To be honest, she was truly shocked. Even if she was beaten to death, she would never have thought that this unremarkable youth would have such great strength. If the other party could kill the young leader in one move, then he could also kill Grandma Silverflower. This way, her plan could not be carried out. Grandma Silverflower's eyelids were twitching wildly. She swallowed her saliva with difficulty as her body trembled slightly. She was the strongest here and had the most unique insight. Therefore, she could deeply feel the terror of that sword aura. Although she was very far away, she still felt like she was about to die at that moment. She took a deep breath and did not dare to act rashly. Instead, she said with a trembling voice, "Thank you, young master, for saving my young miss. All right, the matter has been settled. You can leave now," Lin Xian said indifferently before turning around to leave. Leave? Wang Ling was stunned. Her eyes were filled with unwillingness. The cave ahead was definitely filled with primordial yang stones. That was a shocking treasure. However, she was so close but could not obtain anything. Now, she even had to leave. How could she be willing to leave? However, Lin Xian's performance had indeed shocked her. She did not have the courage to face such a terrifying enemy. Therefore, Wang Ling bit her lips and revealed a pitiful expression. "Young master, this desert is so dangerous. Are you really not worried about letting me leave alone?" This voice was soft as if a pair of gentle hands had brushed across his heart. Chapter 562. Why don't you let me follow you? Once we leave the desert, my Wang family will definitely reward you handsomely. Wang Ling tried her best to stay by Lin Xian's side. On the other hand, Lin Xian frowned slightly. He was very dissatisfied. Earlier, he had proposed to go together, but he was mercilessly rejected and even mocked. Now, she wanted to go together? How could that be possible? There was no such thing as a free lunch in the world. He wanted to reject her, but in the next moment, he suddenly turned his head and looked into the void. Wang Ling did not know why Lin Xian had such a reaction, but Grandma Silverflower frowned slightly. She also tried to sense. Not long after, her heart trembled, and she revealed a look of shock. That was because she felt several powerful auras rushing over from afar. Any one of those auras could make her tremble. Needless to say, these people's cultivation must have surpassed the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. Thinking of this, her wrinkled face revealed a worried expression again. Not long after, Wang Ling also felt those powerful auras. Her little face was also tense, and her little hands were clenched together uneasily. The change in the situation was beyond her expectations again. Lin Xian frowned and looked into the sky. At the same time, he secretly sent a voice transmission to the dark red dragon and the snow-white monkey in the cave, asking them to speed up their collection. In the next moment, a few figures descended and stood in the void. That powerful pressure caused the surroundings to buzz and tremble, as if the entire void could not withstand this power. A few figures descended and stood in the void, emitting powerful auras. Then, these people looked down with disdain. Primordial young stone. It is indeed primordial young stone. The voice in the sky had a hint of excitement. Then, the few figures slowly descended. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked into the sky. He noticed that the first to descend was an old man in linen clothes. This old man had a hooked nose and dark eyes. His aura was powerful, and he was probably at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. When the surrounding guards felt this aura, they immediately knelt on the ground and trembled. Grandma Silverflower was also shocked. She carefully guarded Wang Ling at the side. On the other hand, Lin Xian appeared to be very calm. However, he didn't do anything excessive and just stood there silently. Under such circumstances, he did not want to become the center of attention. The moment the gray-robed old man landed, he looked ahead. His eyes were like divine light as he stared at the cave in front of him. Then, he grinned. His palm danced, forming a huge claw of light that grabbed forward. It looked as if it was going to cover the entire mountain. However, at this moment, a beam of sword light fell from the sky like a rainbow and instantly sent the huge palm of light flying. After that, the sword light also disappeared. Old Hui, aren't you being too impatient? A slightly dissatisfied voice came from behind. It was a blue-haired, middle-aged man with a long sword at his waist. His aura was fierce. Other than the blue-haired swordsman, there was also a young woman and a one-armed old man. These three people had powerful auras that were not any weaker than the gray-robed old man. It was clear that these people were all at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. Wang Ling, who was originally worried and afraid, immediately became happy when she saw the blue-haired, middle-aged swordsman. Uncle Shangguan. Wang Ling shouted and quickly ran over. Grandma Silverflower also heaved a sigh of relief and followed behind Wang Ling. It's actually the little girl from the Wang family. Little girl, why are you here? What happened? Even your guard leader was slaughtered. Who did it? Seeing the corpse on the ground, the blue-haired, middle-aged swordsman frowned. Uncle Shangguan, you have to seek justice for me. Wang Ling immediately burst into tears, looking very sad. I originally obtained an ancient map that marked the existence of the primordial yang stone. Then, I brought my guards to search for it. Along the way, I traveled with that young man. Then, she pointed at Lin Xian. However, who would have thought that when we reached the primordial yang stone, this guy suddenly betrayed me and killed my guard leader. Moreover, he wanted to occupy the primordial yang stone cave. Not only that, he wanted to molest me. Uncle Shangguan, you have to save me. Wang Ling cried bitterly and looked very pitiful. It was as if she had suffered a great injury. Hearing this, Lin Xian's face turned extremely cold and his eyes were filled with intense killing intent. This woman was too vicious. He was the one who discovered the primordial yang stone cave, and the betrayal was done by the young guard leader. As for the molestation, it was even more impossible. And now, Wang Ling, this evil woman, had pushed all the blame onto him. Lin Xian felt a chill in his heart. One must know that not long ago, he had saved Wang Ling's life. Now that this vicious woman had a new backer, she wanted to twist the truth and kill him to silence him. As expected, you are vicious. I have never seen such a shameless woman. Uncle Shangguan, look, he is still insulting me. Wang Ling cried again. Her small face was filled with tears, and it made one's heart ache. Good boy, you look honest, but I didn't expect you to do such a thing. The blue-haired swordsman coldly snorted. Break your arms and kneel on the side. I will deal with you after I settle the matter of the primordial yang stone. There was a trace of coldness and ruthlessness in his voice. The other three-peak spirit-detecting realm martial artists were even more expressionless. They didn't even look at Lin Xian. Lin Xian chuckled when he heard those words. I think you've gone stupid from practicing the sword. You believe everything she says. Do you have a brain? Lin Xian coldly snorted. You still dare to talk back? You're courting death. The blue-haired swordsman's eyes were cold as they swept towards Lin Xian like a sword. However, Lin Xian punched out and shattered the sword. Then he coldly shouted, "The one who wanted to betray us was the young leader. It was this vicious woman who begged me, so I saved her life. I didn't expect her to bite back. Even pigs and dogs know how to repay kindness, but she's worse than an animal." Lin Xian's voice was cold and contained a strong killing intent. You're courting death." Wang Ling was trembling with anger. He dared to insult her like this. Moreover, he did it in front of a peak spirit-detecting realm martial artist. Was he not afraid of death? The other 3 peak spirit-detecting realm martial artists were also slightly moved. To be honest, it was the first time they had seen a youth who wasn't afraid of death like Lin Xian. As for the blue-haired swordsman, his expression was cold. He looked at Lin Xian as if he was looking at a dead man. In fact, in his eyes, Lin Xian was already dead. No one had ever dared to speak to him like this. Anyone who had done such a thing had already died and ceased to exist. However, what shocked him even more was that Lin Xian didn't stop there. Instead, he continued to shout. "What I said just now was the first thing. I wanted you to see the ugly face of this vicious woman. The second thing is to let you know that I was the one who discovered this place. In other words, this is my territory. If you want the primordial yang stones, there is no chance. I'll give you one chance to scram." Chapter 563. At the end of his words, the sound waves turned into rolling waves that swept through the sky and scattered the clouds in the sky. The surrounding martial artists and guards were all lying on the ground, trembling. The 3 extreme spirit-detecting realm martial artists all had cold expressions. The blue-haired swordsman was so angry that he started laughing. What did he just hear? A mid-stage spirit-detecting realm kid actually told them to scram? No one would believe it if they heard it. One had to know that the gap between each stage of the spirit-detecting realm was huge. An extreme martial artist could definitely kill a mid-stage spirit-detecting realm martial artist in one move without any accidents. Is this kid crazy? He actually dares to insult extreme spirit-detecting realm martial artists, and 4 of them at once. Does he really not want to live anymore? Grandma Silverflower was shocked. Good. Kid, you have guts. Don't think you're going to die for sure. You have to know that there's a state in this world that's worse than death. When I get the primordial yang stone, I'll let you enjoy the torture of this world. I'll let you know that there are some words that you can't say even when you're about to die." The other 3 extreme spirit-detecting realm martial artists also had cold expressions. They looked at Lin Xian with killing intent. Their identities were special, and no one had ever dared to scold them like this. When Wang Ling saw this scene, she sneered in her heart. In her opinion, Lin Xian was definitely going to die. Lin Xian looked at these people, but his heart was burning with anger. He didn't want to cause trouble, but these people were so aggressive and didn't plan on letting him go. Since that was the case, he couldn't be blamed. He would let these people know who was the prey. Moreover, he definitely wouldn't let this vicious woman, Wang Ling, go. It was fine if she didn't want to repay his kindness, but she actually distorted the truth and tried to lure experts to kill him. This kind of person definitely couldn't be left alive. Lin Xian looked up with a cold expression. Countless golden lightning danced on his body, intertwining to form a golden armor. Lin Xian's body glowed with golden lightning patterns as he activated the golden lightning body. "What kid? You still dare to attack?" The blue-haired swordsman laughed, his eyes full of disdain. A little martial artist at the middle stage of the spirit-detecting realm actually dared to make a move against him. He really was tired of living. "Little kid, I know you have some strength and can kill late-stage spirit-detecting realm cultivators. However, your strength is still too lacking compared to us. I advise you to surrender obediently. Don't ask for trouble," the prostitute said. However, the one-armed old man beside him sneered. "You're just an ant, yet you dare to compete with a giant dragon? You don't deserve to die." As soon as he finished speaking, he lifted his leg, which formed a huge shadow of a leg, and blasted forward. It had to be said that a martial artist at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm was truly too powerful. Just a casual attack had the power to split the heavens and earth. This leg shadow was like a heavenly pillar. Light swirled above it, and wherever it passed, the earth would collapse. The ground trembled and cracks appeared. Countless grains of sand flowed downwards like yellow waves. It was a spectacular sight. Those guards who were originally lying on the ground were swept by the leg shadows and instantly exploded, turning into a bloody mist. In the blink of an eye, that terrifying leg shadow arrived in front of Lin Xian. Lin Xian's eyes focused. He let out a low roar and suddenly punched out with his right fist. The golden fist shadow pierced through the sky like a golden wheel. It illuminated the sky and collided with the terrifying leg shadow. Lin Xian had consumed many heavenly treasures, and his life force had reached the level of a supremacy. Moreover, he also had a powerful body refinement technique like the golden lightning body. Therefore, this punch could be said to be extremely violent. An earth-shattering sound resounded through the 9 heavens as a terrifying energy exploded. A terrifying aura swept out in all directions, causing Wang Ling, Grandma Silverflower, and the others' expressions to change. Even those martial artists at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm frowned. With their strength, they could naturally sense that Lin Xian's aura was still there. In fact, it hadn't weakened by much. When the dust dissipated and Lin Xian's figure appeared, the surrounding martial artists trembled. This was because they saw that Lin Xian's body was flashing with golden lightning. He was completely unharmed, as if he hadn't been injured. How is this possible? Wang Ling was stunned, her face pale. The one-armed old man's face was so gloomy that it was terrifying. He was a martial artist at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm. That kick just now was enough to kill several martial artists at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. However, that attack couldn't hurt a kid at the middle stage of the spirit-detecting realm. Even if the other party had hidden his strength, it couldn't have ended up like this. Could it be that the kid also had the strength of a martial artist at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm? The one-armed old man's heart skipped a beat. He wasn't sure. However, the kid in front of him was definitely not as simple as he seemed. With a cold snort, he stood to the side and stopped attacking. This kid's opponent should be the blue-haired swordsman. Before he figured out the opponent's background, he wouldn't draw fire to himself. Seeing the one-armed old man stop attacking, the other martial artists at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm were shocked. One had to know that experts like them could kill a group of spirit-detecting realm martial artists with a raise of their hand. There was only one reason why the one-armed old man didn't attack. He wasn't confident. Thinking of this, everyone sucked in a cold breath. Then, they looked at Lin Xian with a grave expression. They didn't expect this seemingly weak youth to be a difficult opponent. Wang Ling's heart skipped a beat. This was completely different from what she had expected. She didn't expect Lin Xian to be so strong that he could contend against a martial artist at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm. If the blue-haired swordsman was here, she probably wouldn't be able to withstand one of Lin Xian's palms. Thinking of this, she looked at the blue-haired swordsman with a worried expression. The blue-haired swordsman's face was also gloomy. The kid in front of him was even more difficult to deal with than he had imagined. However, since he had said he would kill the other party, how could he stop? Moreover, this was related to an extremely important resource like the primordial yang stone, so he wouldn't stop. I didn't expect you to be able to withstand one of my moves. Interesting. However, if this is what gives you the right to be so arrogant, then you can go die. The blue-haired swordsman pulled out the silver sword at his waist and slowly walked out. The next moment, his aura changed greatly. An abnormally sharp aura spread out from his body, like a long sword being unsheathed. At that moment, cracks appeared in the air between heaven and earth. It was as if a small mirror had shattered and spread out like a Thursday weekend. What a powerful sword chi! The martial artists at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm frowned with grave expressions. Among martial artists of the same level, swordsmen were extremely powerful because their attacks were very powerful and could even surpass those of the same level. It was clear that the blue-haired swordsman was such a person. His body emitted a powerful sword chi as he slowly raised the silver sword in his hand. Remember, there are some people you can't afford to provoke. As his voice fell, the silver sword light soared into the sky like a silver river and slashed toward Lin Xian. That's not how you use a sword. Lin Xian's voice was cold and even had a trace of disdain. Chapter 564. Then, he also took a step forward and a powerful aura burst out from his body. The large dragon sword in tint surged and pierced through the clouds. It was like a peerless divine sword, shining with a shocking light. This is sword in tint. The extreme spirit detecting realm martial artists were shocked and revealed looks of disbelief. Especially the blue-haired swordsman, his pupils shrank. Sword in tint was an extremely offensive concept. Out of 10,000 swordsmen, there might not even be one that could comprehend sword in tint. One had to know that even he had not comprehended sword in tint. But this little brat had actually comprehended sword in tint. Looking at that aura, it was definitely not low. The blue-haired swordsman's face was gloomy, and there was a ball of jealousy burning in his heart. Seeing the terrifying potential of the other party, his heart was filled with killing intent. If he could not kill this brat today, he would be in great trouble in the future. Therefore, he would not let Lin Xian leave alive. Then, the sword chi in the blue-haired swordsman's hand became even brighter and sharper. Lin Xian, on the other hand, had the same intention of killing his opponent. As such, he used a terrifying ultimate move right from the start. A pitch-black sword appeared in his hand. Sword of Nirvana. A cold aura of death spread out and instantly enveloped the surroundings. Lin Xian was like a death god from hell, filled with danger. The sword of Nirvana was quickly waved and turned into a black sword light. It emitted a cold aura of death and slashed forward like the call of the death god. Boom, boom, boom. The sword of Nirvana stabbed out, and everywhere it passed, life was quickly lost. The air was like a tide that quickly retreated to the sides. In an instant, it collided with the silver sword chi. Puchi. Under the influence of the sword of Nirvana, the silver sword chi was quickly lost and finally dissipated. What? You can actually break my sword chi in one move. The blue-haired swordsman's heart was beating wildly. He did not expect Lin Xian's sword technique to be so strange. It was actually able to silently dissolve his killing move. Especially that pitch-black long sword, which made his heart palpitate. The other three extreme spirit-detecting realm martial artists were even more shocked. They knew that Lin Xian was very strong, but it seemed that they had underestimated the youth in front of them. Swords are not used like that. Swordsmen are not despicable people like you. I will let you know what a true sword art is and what a swordsman is. Lin Xian floated in the sky, holding the Nirvana sword in his left hand, his entire body emitting an aura of death. Arrogant brat, the blue-haired swordsman shouted angrily, his face darkening. As an expert at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm, he was an existence revered by tens of thousands of people. However, a little brat dared to ridicule him like this. I want to see what kind of ability you have. The blue-haired swordsman clenched his teeth and said. Although he did not comprehend sword intent, he had comprehended another kind of concept. Blue sea concept. Coupled with his ocean abyss swordsmanship, he could unleash an extremely powerful combat strength. He believed that as long as he used his full strength, he would definitely be able to kill this despicable little thief in front of him. In the next moment, the spirit energy around the blue-haired swordsman surged, and a blue ocean appeared behind him. It felt so real. An incomparably vast power quickly spread out in all directions, causing the blue-haired swordsman's aura to soar once more. Ocean abyss swordsmanship. The blue-haired swordsman shouted angrily. The silver longsword in his hand surged. Suddenly, countless blue sword rays appeared in the sky. Each ray was dozens of feet long and looked like sparkling blue crystals. There were terrifying sword auras revolving around them. The sky was filled with blue sword auras as they streaked across, and the void roared. It was as if thousands of tsunamis were surging over. The momentum was terrifying. Lin Xian stood in the void. He slowly stretched out his right hand, and sword auras surged around his body. A blood-red longsword condensed and quickly appeared. Then, a monstrous amount of blood chi rushed out, accompanied by a monstrous amount of murderous intent. Suddenly, the air was filled with a pungent smell of blood. Countless mountains of bloody bones appeared in the surroundings. The scene was hideous and terrifying, like Azura from hell. That shocking killing intent also turned into countless sharp thorns, as if they were going to pierce one's soul. Below, Wang Ling, Grandma Silverflower, and the others had horrifying expressions. There was no trace of blood on their faces. This killing intent had almost made them faint. Lin Xian held the Nirvana sword in his left hand and the massacre sword in his right. He was like a god of death from hell, and his aura was extremely powerful. The two swords clashed and suddenly slashed forward. A stream of pitch-black chi and a stream of scarlet sword chi intertwined in the shape of a cross and rapidly surged forward. The aura of Nirvana and massacre followed. Everywhere it passed, the void shattered. It could not withstand it at all. In just one exchange, the red and black sword light tore apart the wave-like sword aura. At the same time, Lin Xian used the illusory demon steps to increase his speed to the limit. In an instant, he was in front of the blue-haired swordsman. What? So fast? The blue-haired swordsman was already shocked when he saw the blue sword aura being torn apart. However, before he could react, his opponent was already in front of him. The pitch-black Nirvana sword and the blood-red massacre sword both appeared and stabbed at him. No! The blue-haired swordsman screamed. His face was pale, and his heart was filled with fear. He tried his best to dodge and at the same time, used his strongest defense to block in front of him. An ancient-looking shield quickly enlarged and appeared in front of him, emitting a yellow light. At the same time, layers of armor quickly formed on his body, tightly wrapping around him. However, the Nirvana sword and the massacre sword were too strong. The sword light was like a rainbow, carrying a blood-red killing intent and the aura of Nirvana. The two forces instantly tore apart the blue-haired swordsman's defense. All of this happened in an instant. The blue-haired swordsman's eyes were filled with fear, and his face was pale. He screamed crazily and kept begging for mercy. He was even filled with regret. If he did not provoke Lin Xian, his life would not be in danger now. However, all of this was too late. The pitch-black Nirvana sword and the blood-red massacre sword quickly stabbed in, destroying the blue-haired swordsman's life force. In an instant, the blue-haired swordsman's body trembled, and he fell to the ground. In an instant, the extremely powerful spirit-detecting realm swordsman fell on the spot. The surroundings were silent. The three spirit-detecting realm swordsmen were dumbfounded and stood rooted to the ground. Wang Ling's face was filled with fear, and she almost fainted. She did not think that the powerful blue-haired swordsman could not even block one of Lin Xian's moves. Dream. I must be dreaming. She crazily tore at her hair to wake herself up from the dream. However, the pain deeply reminded her that all of this was real. How could it be like this? It can't be like this. Wang Ling screamed. Originally, she wanted to borrow the blue-haired swordsman's hand to kill Lin Xian. That way, she might be able to obtain some primal yang stones. However, the situation was out of her expectations. Lin Xian was extremely powerful, and he killed the powerful blue-haired swordsman in the blink of an eye. Without the blue-haired swordsman, she could not even block one of Lin Xian's moves. Right now, she was filled with regret. Why did she provoke Lin Xian? Wang Ling knelt on the ground and quickly crawled toward Lin Xian. At this moment, her previous arrogance and elegance had completely disappeared, because in front of life, all of this was laughable. Chapter 565. Spare me, spare me. I was wrong. Wang Ling begged. As long as you spare me, I will agree to anything. I can be your slave, your concubine, as long as you spare me. Wang Ling begged as if she had gone mad. However, Lin Xian snorted coldly. With the red and black swords in his hands, he looked like the Azura god of death. Spare you? Impossible. A vicious and shameless woman like you is a scourge in this world. Lin Xian was determined. He would not spare Wang Lin. Seeing that there was no hope of survival, Wang Ling suddenly screamed, "If you kill me, the Wang clan will not let you off. When that time comes, there will be no place for you in the world." However, before she could finish yelling, a pitch-black sword pierced her chest and took away all her life. I will kill you because you deserve to die. If the Wang clan does not know right from wrong and comes for revenge, I do not mind making the Wang clan disappear. Lin Xian's voice was cold, causing one's soul to tremble. No one doubted Lin Xian's words, because he had created miracle after miracle. Wang Lin's eyes were wide open as he fell unwillingly. In the distance, Grandma Silver Flower laughed bitterly and threw away the crutch in her hand. She knew that there was no chance of survival. A wrong decision was enough to take her life. As expected, Lin Xian flicked out a sword wave, killing her instantly. He was not a bloodthirsty person, but these people deserved to die. Then, he turned to look at the other three extreme spirit detecting stage martial artists. Instantly, the hearts of the three experts beat wildly. Lin Xian's gaze caused the hearts of the three extreme spirit detecting stage martial artists to beat wildly, especially the one-armed old man. His heart trembled. Luckily, he did not continue to attack, or else he would be the one lying on the ground now. Scram or die, choose for yourselves. Lin Xian's voice was calm, but it could not hide his domineering aura. Hearing this, the three of them fell silent. Lin Xian's strength had probably exceeded the extreme spirit detecting stage. This could be seen from how he killed the blue-haired swordsman in one move. However, the three of them were truly unwilling to leave just like that. After all, primordial yang stones were extremely precious. The three of us will join hands and capture this brat. When the time comes, we will divide the primordial yang stones equally. The gray-robed old man said in a deep voice. All right. The other two experts nodded in agreement. For now, this was the best solution. If the three ultimate contenders joined forces, their power would be immense. The three of them believed that as long as they worked together, they would definitely be able to take down Lin Xian. Having come to an agreement, the three of them made their move without any hesitation. 3 streaks of light shot towards Lin Xian like rainbows. Lin Xian stood in the air, his eyes cold as he looked at the 3 people rushing towards him. Then, he held the Nirvana sword and quickly swung it in the air. Suddenly, the clouds in the sky rolled, and the projection of a giant sword appeared, filling the entire sky. That aura was too tyrannical, as though it was going to crush the 9 heavens. Moreover, there were black runes attached to that gigantic sword, bringing with it a sense of nirvanic extermination. Gale Lightning Sword. One sword cleaving mountains and rivers. Lin Xian was very decisive as he directly used an earth-grade martial art. The Gale Lightning Sword was already very powerful, and now with the effect of the Nirvana Sword, it could be said to be even more powerful. The gigantic sword slashed down with black sword chi, enveloping the 3 ultimate spirit detecting realm experts. Suddenly, the expressions of the 3 people below changed as their bodies trembled. What martial art is this? It's so terrifying. Could it be an earth-grade martial art? The 3 of them trembled as they dodged, turning into 3 streaks of light as they quickly escaped. The gigantic sword fell, sinking the ground, and terrifying cracks appeared. Countless sword chi spread in all directions, turning the entire desert into a world of sword chi. It was abnormally dangerous. With just one strike, he defeated the joint attack of the 3 spirit-detecting realm experts. The 3 of them were terrified. Lin Xian was too powerful, and he was very decisive. Without any hesitation, he used an earth-grade martial art, a powerful martial art. This brat is definitely a genius martial artist from a top sect. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so powerful. Moreover, he has an earth-grade martial art. Looking at him, could he be a genius from the deity sword villa? The 3 of them were solemn and didn't dare to attack again. However, the 3 of them were unwilling to leave and could only wander in the distance. With a cold snort, Lin Xian sneered. He put away his sword and entered the cave, beginning to quickly collect high-grade primordial yang stones. He believed that the sword just now was definitely enough to intimidate the 3 of them, and they definitely wouldn't dare to come rashly. Lin Xian moved quickly, specifically picking high-grade primordial yang stones. However, not long after, a terrifying pressure came from the distance again. This aura was very terrifying, as if the entire world was shaking. Supremacy. Lin Xian was surprised. He didn't expect that a supremacy would appear in this barren land. A supremacy was a true powerhouse, and their strength far exceeded that of a spirit-detecting realm martial artist. A casual attack could destroy a spirit-detecting realm martial artist's body and soul. Although Lin Xian was powerful, he was still unable to fight against a supremacy. Go, Lin Xian shouted. He didn't want to be greedy anymore. If a supremacy came, he wouldn't be able to resist at all. At that time, not only would he not be able to keep his primordial young stones, but he might even lose his life. The Crimson Dragon was also very decisive. It didn't dare to expose itself in front of a supremacy now that it didn't have any dragon essence. Moreover, the collection just now also allowed him to obtain a lot of primordial young stones. On the other hand, the little white monkey was scratching its ears and cheeks, unwilling to give up. It waved its little claws and quickly patted the small bowl. The small bowl suddenly spun quickly and then became bigger. In the end, it was the size of a house and quickly filled the entire cave. In an instant, the surrounding mountain rocks shattered and the entire cave collapsed, revealing the primordial yang stone vein. The three spirit-detecting realm powerhouses outside also felt the supremacy's aura in the distance. Their first thought was naturally to escape. Facing a supremacy, they couldn't resist even if they joined forces. However, before they could move, the cave in front of them suddenly exploded, revealing the primordial yang stone vein. What? A primordial yang stone vein? The three of them were shocked when they saw the scene inside. They knew that there was a large amount of primordial yang stones inside, but they didn't expect it to be a vein. This is absolutely too shocking. The three of them swallowed their saliva. The amount of primordial yang stones here was too shocking. It was definitely not something a powerhouse could swallow. Perhaps only a few super powerhouses could possess it. In the next moment, the scene in front of them made their eyes almost pop out. A huge broken net was floating, covering the primordial yang stone vein. Not only that, they saw Lin Xian use his sword chi and quickly cut towards the vein. Too crazy. These guys actually want to forcefully move the vein. Those powerhouses were stunned. They felt that their brains weren't enough. Haha, little guy, good job. The Crimson Dragon excitedly shouted. It didn't even dare to think about forcefully moving the primordial yang stone vein. It didn't expect the little white monkey to be so bold. However, a cold snort suddenly came from the distance. Oomph! You dare to damage the primordial yang stone vein. You're courting death. Chapter 566. Then, a huge crimson palm of light quickly formed above them, covering the sky and the sun. Just one palm wind was enough to send three peak spirit-detecting realm martial artists flying. One could imagine the power of this light palm. Lin Xian was enveloped by the red light pillar. He felt as if his body was about to split open. This power was too strong. It was definitely not something a spirit-detecting realm martial artist could resist. He immediately unleashed his great dragon sword soul to resist the pressure. At the same time, he used the illusory demon steps to leave. The dark red divine dragon let out a howl, and its body turned into a red ray of light, instantly disappearing from the spot. The little white monkey anxiously scratched its ears and cheeks. The next moment, two black vortexes appeared in its eyes, forming a black light pillar that slammed into the primal yang stone vein. Suddenly, a small section of the vein was broken. Then, the shabby little bowl spun and sucked away the broken vein. Let's go. Lin Xian did not dare to delay any longer. He quickly called the little white monkey and left. You're courting death. The voice in the distance was furious. He did not expect that the other party could destroy the primal yang stone vein under his attack and even succeed. With a cold snort, the surrounding spirit chi shook, forming a fiery red light wall that surrounded the surroundings like a cage. The venerable in the distance was furious. He had to catch the thief who destroyed the vein and refine his soul. He only needed a few breaths of time to arrive. But the next moment, he was stunned. Because in the north, a fiery red light wall was broken. The thief who stole the vein had escaped. How is this possible? The mysterious venerable was shocked. A spirit-detecting realm martial artist could escape from him. Who is it? How can he escape? The next moment, a terrifying pressure descended, and a majestic figure appeared in the sky. In the void, a red aura flowed like flames, bringing with it incomparable heat. The Venerable had finally descended. The three-peak spirit detecting realm martial artists felt bitter. They had used all their methods but still could not escape. Now that the Venerable's true body had appeared, it was even more impossible for them to escape. The fiery red figure in the sky casually glanced at them, causing them to tremble. A group of ants dares to encroach on the primordial yang stone mine. Then, the Venerable One swept his gaze and formed a red claw that grabbed downward. In an instant, the one-armed old man was enveloped by the sharp claws. No. The one-armed old man struggled frantically, wanting to escape, but the red claw was too sharp. It pierced through his head in an instant. Suddenly, the one-armed old man's body trembled, and the light in his eyes faded away. He was stunned on the spot. A moment later, the red claw disappeared, and the one-armed old man bled from his 7 orifices, falling to the ground dead. Beside him, the other 2 cultivators were horrified. They were aware of the method just now. It was a soul-searching technique. This supremacy was too decisive. He didn't even plan to interrogate him and directly searched his soul. Most likely, their fates would not be any better. A young swordsman who comprehended sword essence. Could he be from the deity Sword Villa? In the sky, the mysterious Honorable whispered. But why would someone from the deity Sword Villa come here? In the desert thousands of miles away from the primordial Yang stone mine, Lin Xian stopped and breathed a sigh of relief. At the critical moment, he pushed the great dragon sword soul with all his strength and displayed an incomparably powerful attack. Only then was he able to break through the red light wall and escape. Until now, he still had a lingering fear. Because if he was a step slower, when the Venerable One's true body arrived, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to escape. However, the harvest from this adventure was also great. This time, not only did he obtain a large amount of high-grade primordial yang stones, he even seized a small part of the primordial yang stone mine at the last moment. This kind of thing was definitely a great fortune in his hands. In a good mood, Lin Xian rested for a moment and hurried on his way again. This time, he wanted to completely walk out of this desert and reach the place where humans lived. Half a month later, Lin Xian finally arrived at the edge of the desert. Although the surroundings were still very desolate, it was much better than the desert. At least he saw traces of human activity here. With his outstanding soul power, Lin Xian should know that there was a city in front of him. Raising his spirit, he set out again. The Crimson Dragon followed behind, its tongue hanging out, looking listless. This half a month of desert life had almost tortured it to the point of insanity. A winding dirt road appeared in front of him. It was full of potholes and cracks. The Crimson Dragon walked on it and let out a cheerful scream. Mother Dragon, the feeling of the earth is so good. Ben Huang doesn't want to see the desert again in this life. Lin Xian also let out a sigh of relief. That setting sun desert was too strange. Not only was the climate abnormal, but there were also dangers everywhere. One time, he even encountered a huge quicksand storm and almost lost his life there. Further ahead, traces of humans gradually appeared. Lin Xian found that although this place was separated from the desert, it was still at the edge of the desert, so the architectural style and climate were very similar to the desert. Even the houses were built with sand and stone. The whole thing was rough and the windows were very small. It was very different from the palaces and pavilions that Lin Xian had seen before. Seeing that there was food on the side of the road, the Crimson Dragon roared and immediately pounced over. The surrounding people were all wearing loose robes that covered their whole body. They were very surprised to see a 4-legged snake that could talk. Oh, heavens, what did I see? A talking snake. Could it be the snake clan of the setting sun desert? Yes, it's very possible. The group of people chattered and stared at the Crimson Dragon to see if it was different. Although they were surprised, there was no fear on their faces. It seemed that these people were used to seeing all kinds of demonic beasts. Lin Xian looked on in amazement from the side. He found that the surrounding shopkeepers had a certain foundation in martial arts. Some of them were even not weak. Lin Xian came to a small stall and ordered some local specialties. The owner was a middle-aged woman. She smiled apologetically at Lin Xian and said, "Esteemed guest, please wait a moment." Recently, there have been a lot of martial artists coming and going. It may take some time for the food to be ready. Lin Xin smiled and nodded. He also found that there were many people of the pugilistic world with sabers and swords in the vicinity. These people looked hurried, and their auras were very heavy. With a glance, he could tell that their auras were very different from the local residents. Not long after, the food was served. It was a cooked desert spirit rabbit. Lin Xin tasted it and found that the taste was not bad, so he ate with relish. The Crimson Dragon also ordered a huge roasted demonic beast and ate it crazily. Not long after, the seats near Lin Xin were also filled with martial artists. Have you heard? A primordial yang stone vein actually appeared in the setting sun desert. Yes, I heard that even the venerable ones were mobilized. Yes. My senior brother even went to watch. He heard that the venerable ones were fighting with earth-shattering momentum. Then who did the primordial yang stone vein belong to in the end? Chapter 567. Many forces from the entire sand region went. It was very chaotic. Later, the Blackwood Stronghold's experts suppressed everyone, but I heard that the Battle King Hall also sent people. What? The Battle King Hall also came? Many people exclaimed. Lin Xin silently listened. Although he had never heard of any of these forces, he could imagine the intensity of the battle. Fortunately, he had left quickly, or else he wouldn't have been able to leave so easily. Sigh, did you guys know? I heard that the mine isn't complete. It seems like someone stole a piece. What? There's actually someone who can steal from a venerable. Could it be someone from a large force? I don't know, but it seems like a young martial artist did it. I heard that person is very mysterious. No one knows where he came from. Young martial artist? So powerful. Could it be a genius from a super force who came out to train? Everyone discussed and guessed. After Lin Xin heard this, the corner of his mouth raised. If these people knew that the mysterious expert they were talking about was sitting beside them, what would their expressions be? After enjoying the food, Lin Xin asked the lady boss about the nearby town and then continued on his way. However, not long after he left, 5 martial artists at a nearby table began to talk in low voices. Boss, it's actually a talking snake. Could it be the Naga race? I don't know, but I'm sure that Red Snake's grade is not low. The one who spoke was a young man. On his left was a 2-meter-long demonic beast. Its body was yellow and looked like quicksand. Then, these people revealed sinister smiles. If we catch it, we can definitely sell it for a good price. If we nurture it, it might have terrifying battle strength. Humph. The other party is only at the middle stage of the spirit detecting realm. He's really lucky to have such a demonic beast. After speaking, these people quickly left and followed behind Lin Xin. Lin Xin wasn't in a hurry to get on the road. Instead, he slowly walked while admiring the strange scenery. The next moment, he frowned. With his soul force perception, he knew that there were a few people following him. Furthermore, those figures were extremely arrogant and had no intention of concealing themselves. All of them released their auras and were extremely powerful. The corners of Lin Xin's mouth curled into a cold smile when he sensed this. Then, his footsteps became even slower. Sure enough, it didn't take long for the people behind to catch up. The 5 of them formed a battle circle, surrounding Lin Xin. Brat, you're quite carefree. A dull voice rang out. You're very lucky to have encountered a big deal. Another voice with a hint of mockery sounded. Lin Xin scanned the room and took in the information of the few people sitting there. These 5 people were very young. 2 of them were women, and the other 3 were young men. Most of them were at the late stage of the spirit detecting realm, and 2 were at the peak of the spirit detecting realm. At this age, this level of cultivation could be considered abnormally strong. One of the youths, who was at the peak of the spirit detecting realm, stood on the side and watched the show. Beside him was a 2-meter-long demonic beast with a body as rough as a child's sand. Judging from his expression, he seemed to be the leader of this team. Lin Xin calmly asked, "Why are you all so enthusiastic? Is there a problem?" The Crimson Dragon impatiently roared, "Damn! A group of little brats dares to block Ben Huang's path. Quickly scram, or else Ben Huang will roast you all and eat you." When the roar came out, Not only did the surrounding people not get angry, they looked at the Crimson Dragon with even more excitement. Not bad, not bad. It really knows how to talk. It seems like its intelligence isn't low. It must be a rare species. One of the skinny youths smiled and said, "Brat, your luck is very good to have encountered us. Now, we want to buy this talking snake. Your luck is very good. Now, we want to buy this talking snake." With that, the skinny youth threw down a mid-grade spirit stone. "Take the spirit stone and scram." Everyone sneered. Lin Xin frowned. These people were too arrogant. They wanted to force a deal the moment they came up, and the price was only a mid-grade spirit stone. This was definitely naked bullying. It would be better to just rob. When they saw Lin Xin's expression, they were immediately displeased and snorted coldly. "Brat, what's with your expression? I'm giving you face by buying your demonic beast. I think highly of you. Don't be so shameless. Quickly take the spirit stone and scram, or don't blame us for being merciless." "Yeah, brat, I advise you to be sensible. Giving you a spirit stone is already giving you face. If you dare to talk nonsense again, we'll chop you up and feed you to the dogs." The group of people had mocking expressions. They didn't put Lin Xian in their eyes at all. In fact, it wasn't surprising. These people had powerful cultivation and were dressed in extraordinary clothes. They should be disciples of aristocratic families. With the cultivation of these people, how could they care about a small martial artist at the spirit-detecting realm? The Crimson Dragon at the side was so angry that it jumped up. "Damn! A group of lowly worms dare to buy Bin Huang. Damn it! Damn it! All of you deserve to die." The Crimson Dragon shouted angrily. As a member of the Eastern Divine Dragon clan, it had a revered status. If it wasn't for the disappearance of its dragon essence, it would have already slapped them with its claws. How could it tolerate these people? Lin Xin's gaze was gloomy with a trace of coldness. "So, I should thank you? Haha, no need. If you want to thank us, just kowtow a few times." They laughed arrogantly. "Is that so? But I don't have such a habit. If you kowtow a few times, I can't consider it." Lin Xin sneered. "What? Brat, you're courting death." They were furious, and their expressions were ferocious. One of the burly young men took a step forward, and a terrifying fist with a glaring light blasted towards Lin Xian at high speed. This person was at the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm. His body was sturdy and full of explosive muscles. It was obvious that he was a body-tempering cultivator. This fist caused the air to explode. A terrifying pressure instantly enveloped Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian didn't dodge. He even had a mocking smile on his face. Seeing that mocking smile, the tall youth was furious. The strength of his body increased by 30%. This fist could definitely turn a mid-stage spirit-detecting realm martial artist into a bloody mist. The other martial artists sneered. They could already imagine the scene of Lin Xian being smashed by this fist. However, Lin Xian wasn't in a hurry. He waited for the violent fist to approach before he stretched out his palm. Pong! Lin Xian's palm formed a claw and easily caught the violent fist. What? He blocked it just like that. That's impossible. The other martial artists were shocked. The tall, skinny youth was also stunned. "Ali, did you use your full strength or not?" The tall youth wasn't in the mood to answer his companion's question. At this moment, his face was ferocious and his body was covered in cold sweat. A sharp pain came from his right arm, as if it was about to break. He wanted to pull back his fist, but he found that he couldn't. Lin Xian's lips curled into a disdainful smile. Then, he exerted a bit more force. Chapter 568. Crack. A crisp sound rang out in the air, and then the man's right arm was twisted. "Ah!" he roared. His expression was crazed as he swung his left fist. It was like a giant hammer as it quickly fell. However, a clear cracking sound rang out once again, and his left arm drooped down powerlessly. Lin Xian swung his arm and threw the tall youth away. What? Ali was defeated? Everyone was shocked and couldn't react. Ali was their companion. His cultivation had reached the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm, and he was also a body refiner. In close combat, He could even fight with a peak spirit-detecting realm expert. However, he was defeated in close combat by a kid at the middle stage of the spirit-detecting realm. They couldn't believe it. Suddenly, everyone looked at Lin Xian differently. Although they were arrogant, they weren't fools. Although the youth in front of them was only at the middle stage of the spirit-detecting realm, his true battle strength should be beyond the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm. Otherwise, Ali wouldn't have been sent flying with a single punch. At this moment, the youth's expression also darkened. He said sternly, "Friend, we are disciples of the Blackwood family. Can you give us some face and sell this talking snake to us? Don't worry, the price will be reasonable." At this moment, Lin Xian's shocking battle strength made them cautious. The youth believed that as long as he mentioned his identity as a member of the Blackwood family, the other party would be obedient. The dark blast dragon sneered, "What Blackwood, yellow wood, and clear wood? You dare to buy Bin Huang? You're courting death. Little brat, go and kill them." Lin Xian shrugged. "You heard it. This guy is my companion. Since he's unwilling, you should leave." Lin Xian had heard about the Blackwood family when he was eating. He knew that they were a very powerful force in the area. Therefore, unless it was absolutely necessary, he didn't want to offend such a force. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the Blackwood leopard's expression darkened. He was the young master of the Blackwood family. Normally, he could get whatever he wanted. No one dared to go against him. This time, the primordial young stone vein had unexpectedly appeared in the setting sun desert, causing all the experts in the family to come out. He had secretly gone behind the family's back and brought a few cultivators with him to watch the fun. He didn't expect to meet a talking snake along the way. He wouldn't let go of such a rare beast. But now, there was someone who didn't give him face. Not only was this a rejection, but it was also a humiliation to the Blackwood family. In the Sand region, no one dared to disrespect the Blackwood family. Who do you think you are? How dare you reject young Master Leopard? The Blackwood leopard sneered as well. Stupid thing, refusing a toast only to drink a forfeit. Men, kill him for me. Suddenly, the three martial artists around him grinned hideously. A powerful aura rose from their bodies. Their spiritual energy was like flames, surging and jumping, forming rays of light that filled the surroundings. Brat, how dare you offend young Master Leopard? Go to hell. Saber light, sword shadow, fist shadow, palm wind, all blasted towards Lin Xian with great momentum. In an instant, Lin Xian was surrounded by all kinds of terrifying energy. But in the next moment, a sword light flashed and tore through everything. The terrifying energy was easily cut open like tofu. Lin Xian had a calm expression as he slowly walked out of the energy. How is this possible? Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. If they worked together, they would be able to contend against a peak spirit-detecting realm martial artist. But the other side was just a mid-stage spirit-detecting realm brat. He had split their attacks apart with a single sword. This scene was too shocking. The Blackwood leopard's eyelids twitched. It was the first time he had lost his calm. The youth before him was even more troublesome than he had imagined. He took a deep look at Lin Xian. A trace of killing intent appeared in the Blackwood leopard's eyes, but he quickly hid it. So many people couldn't beat Lin Xian. Even if he went up, he might not be able to catch him. Moreover, as a young master, he wasn't willing to take this risk. It was better to remember the other side's appearance and secretly track him down. Then he would find the family's experts to deal with him. This was his way of doing things. Thinking of this, the Blackwood leopard dryly laughed. Misunderstanding. Everything is a misunderstanding. Since brother doesn't want to sell, we won't force you. Brothers, follow me. The Blackwood leopard waved his hand and was about to leave with his subordinates. However, Lin Xian sneered in his heart. His soul force was outstanding, and his senses were very sharp. Just now, he had felt the killing intent from the Blackwood leopard. Although it was hidden well, it couldn't escape his eyes. The other side was a disciple of a great power, and they had a grudge. If he let them go, they would attract powerful martial artists. Lin Xian wouldn't let such a threat go. Who allowed you to leave? Lin Xian's voice was cold. The moment he said this, the Blackwood leopard and the others froze. Then he suddenly turned around and stared at Lin Xin like a fierce beast. You dare to stop me? The Blackwood leopard was furious. Why wouldn't I dare? Lin Xin sneered. You brought people to kill me. Now that you can't kill me, you want to leave? How can there be such a good thing in this world? If everyone was like you, then what would I be? Since you've done something, you have to pay the price. Lin Xin's killing intent sword. Price? What price? The Blackwood leopard was insolent. Don't tell me you dare to attack me? Let me tell you, I'm a member of the Blackwood family. Since that's the case, then I can't let you live. Sword chi floated around Lin Xin's body, condensing into a blood-red sword. You dare to attack me? You're courting death. The Blackwood leopard roared, his body suddenly exploding. Behind him, the three martial artists also attacked crazily, not holding back at all. The demonic beast with a body like quicksand also quickly pounced, grabbing at Lin Xin's throat. Lin Xin's lips curled into a cold smile. He held the sword of slaughter and quickly slashed forward. A scarlet sword, she quickly streaked through the air, instantly wrapping around the Blackwood leopard and the others. No, the Blackwood leopard was enveloped by the blood-red sword chi, and immediately screamed like a pig being slaughtered. In the next moment, their bodies were completely submerged in the blood-red sword chi. When the blood-red sword light disappeared, 5 corpses appeared on the ground. The Blackwood leopard and the others fell to the ground with faces full of terror, their bodies covered with terrifying sword wounds. Lin Xin waved his hand, and his spirit power quickly rubbed together, creating a ball of green flame that emitted a scorching aura. With a flick of his finger, the flame quickly floated to the 5 corpses, instantly burning them to ashes. After doing this, Lin Xin quickly left. 3 days later, he arrived in front of a huge city. Quicksand City was a huge city in the Sand Country. It was tall and majestic, with a magnificent aura. The entire wall was made of huge sandstone. When the wind blew, it would make a rustling sound, as if sand was flowing. This was also why this city was called Quicksand City. Presumably, he should be able to obtain some useful information in this Quicksand City. Chapter 569. After entering Quicksand City, the inside became lively. The wide road was filled with people shuttling back and forth, and all kinds of hawking sounds filled the place. It was a lively scene. Lin Xin's mood gradually relaxed and became cheerful. During this period of time, he had been fighting and chasing, and his mental state was highly tense. Now that he was in Quicksand City, he naturally needed to relax. At this moment, Lin Xin also bought a large white robe to cover his body like the locals. The snow-white little monkey was still sitting on his shoulder, and the crimson dragon was hidden in his sleeve. This guy was too eye-catching, especially after he spoke. He would definitely attract the attention of people. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, he hid the crimson dragon. The crimson dragon was unwilling at first, but later Lin Xin tempted it with primordial yang stones, making it agree. Lin Xin bought some local snacks and gave them to the crimson dragon and the snow-white little monkey, while he bought some geography and history books. Soon, he learned about the world he was in. The country he was in was called the Sand Country, a big country in the northwest of the Sky Marshal Domain. The Sky Marshal Domain was too big, and it was not an exaggeration to call it the Sky Marshal Continent. Its area was several times that of the Southern Heaven region. It was vast, rich in resources, and prosperous in martial arts. Compared to the Southern Heaven region, it was many times stronger. It could be said to be a warrior's paradise. The Divine Bird Palace was also the overlord of the Northwest region, but it was not in the Sand region. Therefore, Lin Xin was temporarily free from the threat of the Divine Bird Palace. Quicksand City was an important city in the Sand Country and was very famous in the entire Sand region. This city was very large, and the forces inside were also very complicated. Lin Xin knew that the Wang family and the Blackwood family were both in Quicksand City. Now that he had a general understanding of the place he was in, Lin Xin planned to stay in Quicksand City for the time being. On one hand, he could relax, and on the other hand, he could consolidate his cultivation and deal with some cultivation resources. Since he joined the Azure Dragon Society, he had not had a good rest, and after such a long time of accumulation, the The materials he had on him had reached an astonishing number. Although some things were very precious, he had no use for them, so it was best to use them for an auction. Moreover, there was another reason why he had come to the Sky Marshal region. It was because of his father. Back when he was in his family's ancestral land, his father had left a message for him, telling him to go to the Sky Marshal domain after obtaining the Great Dragon Sword Soul. Lin Xian was very confused about these things. First, there was the mysterious small sword in his body, which was given to him by his father. The glazed sword was too mysterious. Not only did it contain a strange world, but it also contained a peerless expert like Lord Alcohol. Lin Xian didn't know why his father would have the mysterious pendant. And why did his father fake his death? Why would there be a trace of the Great Dragon Sword Soul in the ancestral land? Why did his father want him to come to the Sky Marshal region? Lin Xian was puzzled, but no one could give him an answer. He thought that after he found his father, perhaps all the mysteries would be solved. After sorting out his emotions, Lin Xian walked towards the depths of Quicksand City. In the city, he saw many large circular buildings with people coming and going. It was very lively. Lin Xian asked around and found out that those large circular buildings were arenas. They were places where martial artists fought. Moreover, Lin Xian also found out that martial arts duels were very popular in the Sand region. Many cities had arenas, and as a large city in the Sand region, Quicksand City had countless arenas. Moreover, there were many famous arenas here. Many martial artists from the Sand region came here because of their fame. Here, one could see all kinds of martial arts experts. Lin Xian was surprised and delighted at the same time. He paced back and forth nearby, preparing to find out more information. The nearby martial artists were all excitedly discussing. Exciting, too exciting. That youth is only at the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm, but he defeated dozens of martial artists at the peak of the light-detecting realm. His battle prowess is too strong. Yes, I don't know which faction's genius he is from. To have such heaven-defying battle prowess at such a cultivation is truly amazing. I know the person you're talking about. He's called Dakai. Although he's strong, I don't think he can compare to Sun Xiao. You have to know that that guy has comprehended the two opposite concepts of water and fire. The power produced by the fusion of the two concepts is incomparably terrifying. Even a martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm was defeated. Yes, recently many talented martial artists have appeared in Quicksand City. If these people can continue to grow, they will probably become venerables, right? Yes, and I've seen many unfamiliar faces. Their strength is not inferior to the genius disciples of large factions. Is there something special going on recently? For all these martial artists to gather? I heard that these geniuses are not all from the Sand region. There are also some from other places. As for why these people came to Quicksand City, I don't know. It seems to be related to the White Clarity region. It is said that the Murong family's holy daughter once appeared in a certain arena. These martial artists are probably here for the Murong family's holy daughter. What? The Murong family's holy daughter is also here. She is one of the most beautiful women in the Sky Martial continent. No wonder so many martial artists came to Quicksand City. Everyone screamed crazily, their expressions excited. If they could see the Murong family's holy daughter, even if they died, it would be worth it. The Sky Martial continent was extremely vast, and the population was in the hundreds of millions. To be able to be called one of the most beautiful women in the world, one could imagine how beautiful the Murong family's holy daughter was. No wonder so many people went crazy for her. Lin Xian was a little surprised. A woman could actually cause such a commotion. This made him very curious. To be honest, he had seen many beautiful women. Among them, there were even peerless beauties. He wondered what was so special about this Murong family's holy daughter compared to the other women he had seen. Thinking of this, he actually had a kind of anticipation in his heart. He also wanted to see the legendary Murong family's holy daughter. Since he was in Quicksand City, he might be able to see her. Lin Xian revealed a smile. What are you laughing at, brat? With your cultivation, you want to see the Murong family's holy daughter? Not far away, a big man pointed at Lin Xian and mocked him. The others also laughed. The middle stage of spirit-detecting realm was indeed not outstanding. It had to be known that many spirit-detecting realm experts might not even be able to see the Morong family's holy daughter, let alone a middle-stage spirit-detecting realm brat. Hey, brat, look at you. Why don't you hurry up and go home to drink milk? The big man sneered. The big man's name was Quan Tai. He was famous in Quicksand City for his cheap mouth. Many people had been ridiculed by him. However, he was at the late stage of spirit-detecting realm. Ordinary people would not be able to defeat him. Furthermore, this fellow specifically chose to mock those with weaker cultivation than him. He did not dare to provoke those experts. He could be said to be a typical bully. Chapter 570. At this moment, Quan Tai had just lost a match in the arena and was feeling depressed. Seeing that Lin Xian was weak, he began to mock him. Mocking the weak could make him happy. This was his unique way of reducing stress. Brat, what are you looking at? Am I wrong? You coward. Lin Xian frowned. He didn't know the other party, but the other party was like a mad dog, mocking him as soon as he came up. Although he didn't want to cause trouble, he couldn't help it in this situation. With a cold gaze, Lin Xian strode over. Yo, brat, you dare to come up? What, you want to fight? Quan Tai sneered. Come. I'll let you have 3 moves. Quicksand City was popular with martial arts, so the people here were quite fierce. It was very common for people to start fighting when they didn't agree. Therefore, seeing this situation, not only was the crowd not nervous, they even cheered loudly. Brat, I'll stand still and let you hit me 3 times. If you can knock me down, I'll apologize to you on the spot. Quan Tai said arrogantly. He had a reason to be arrogant. He was at the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm. A mid-stage cultivator couldn't even break his defense, let alone knock him down. Lin Xian's eyes were cold. He impatiently rubbed his ears and then slapped out. Pong! The air trembled and exploded. Lin Xian's slap landed on Quan Tai's face and sent him flying. This slap was too fast. It was as fast as lightning and as violent as thunder. Quan Tai didn't even have time to react before he was sent flying and smashed into the ground like a meteor. Half of his face was swollen like a bun, and all of his teeth were broken. A terrifying hole was formed in the hard ground. Quan Tai struggled a few times before his eyes rolled back and he fainted. Ah, it's finally quiet. Lin Xian rubbed his ears and turned to leave. Everyone was shocked and dumbfounded. Only when Lin Xian was about to leave did they react and make way for him. The crowd scattered like the tide. These people looked at Lin Xian with a trace of awe and fear. To be able to knock Quan Tai unconscious in one move, this young man was definitely not an ordinary person. It has to be said that Quan Tai was at the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm. There was a difference of 1 realm between the two. Their defense, power, and speed were completely different. Under normal circumstances, a mid-stage spirit-detecting realm cultivator wouldn't be able to injure a late-stage spirit-detecting realm cultivator. This was the difference between realms. However, Lin Xian had actually broken through Quan Tai's defense with a single slap and knocked him unconscious. One could imagine how terrifying his strength was. Moreover, at this time of crisis, masters from all over the world were converging towards Quicksand City. Perhaps this boy in front of him was a genius martial artist from one of these forces. If that was really the case, they couldn't afford to offend him, so they all retreated. However, there was a beautiful figure in the crowd who was staring at Lin Xian, her eyes shining with excitement. Then, the figure quickly ran out and shouted, "Brother, please wait." This voice was somewhat feminine, making it hard to tell whether it was a man or a woman. Lin Xian turned around and saw a delicate face not far away. He asked, "Beauty, what's the matter?" The moment he said this, the crowd burst into laughter. Many people even bent over from laughing. Moreover, Fang's delicate face instantly turned red, and a trace of anger appeared in her eyes. The delicate face viciously said, "I'm a man." This time, it was Lin Xian's turn to be stunned. He carefully blinked and looked at the delicate face. Then he revealed a look of doubt. No matter how he looked at it, it was an extremely beautiful face that could make countless men go crazy. How could such a person be a man? Seeing Lin Xian's doubtful expression, the figure in front of him was discouraged. "Big brother, I'm really a man. If you don't believe me, you can touch me. Lin Xian was speechless. He noticed the other party's flat chest and Adam's apple. Only then did he confirm that the other party was a man. All right, I believe you're a man. Why are you looking for me? Lin Xian said helplessly. Haha, brother's skills are not bad. What's your rank in the Colosseum? My rank? Lin Xian shook his head. I just came to Quicksand City and have not participated in any Colosseum. What? Really? The figure was stunned and then became ecstatic. My name is Nan Gongseng. What's your name? Lin Xian. So it's Brother Lin. I wonder if Brother Lin is interested in participating in the Colosseum? Seeing Lin Xian's doubtful expression, Nan Gongseng said, I'm a disciple of the Nangong Colosseum. I'd like to invite Brother Lin to work in our Nangong Colosseum. Soon, Lin Xian understood Nan Gongseng's meaning. There were many ways to play in the Colosseum. One of them was a challenge. The dealer would send out people, and the contestants would take turns to challenge each other. The winner would receive some precious treasures. This way of playing was very popular. However, it required the dealer to have a large number of experts. Otherwise, if someone challenged the Colosseum, not only would they lose their treasures, but their reputation would also fall. Therefore, the Colosseum would look for experts or martial artists with potential to nurture. Although Lin Xian was interested in the Colosseum, he was not willing to join any faction. Sorry, I don't want to join for the time being. Lin Xian shook his head. Seeing Lin Xian refuse, Nan Gongseng's small face was stunned. He was very surprised. One had to know that their Nangong Colosseum was a giant in Quicksand City. It was one of the top Colosseum. Usually, many genius martial artists wanted to enter but were unable to do so. However, the other party actually refused. The surrounding martial artists were also stunned. They did not expect Lin Xian to have the courage to refuse the Nangong Colosseum's invitation. Lin Xian did not know the status of the Nangong Colosseum. However, even if he knew, he would not participate. He would not stay here for long. Isn't this brat too arrogant? He is only at the mid-stage of the spirit-detecting realm. Although he can defeat late-stage spirit-detecting realm martial artists, it will be too much for him to join the Nangong Colosseum. Now that there was such an opportunity, how could he not grasp it? What do you know? Although this Nan Gongseng is not strong, his eyes are very experienced. All the martial artists he has his eyes on have become famous. Who knows how many experts he has found for the Nangong Colosseum over the years? For that youth to be chosen, he is probably not simple. Hearing this, everyone was filled with envy. Being able to enter the Nangong Colosseum was not only a symbol of status, but it also allowed one to enjoy a large amount of resources. It was definitely a place that all martial artists yearned for. However, after the other party found out, he was still unmoved. Nan Gongseng was also very depressed. As a scout of the Nangong Colosseum, he had never been wrong. From the scene just now, he realized that Lin Xian's strength was even more terrifying than he had imagined. Such a person was definitely a rare martial genius. If he could be attracted to the Nangong family and nurtured, it would not be long before he would become a super powerful force. Moreover, there had been more and more geniuses recently, and their Nangong family needed new blood. However, he did not expect the other party to decisively refuse without any room for negotiation. Chapter 571. Nan Gongseng had never failed before, so he wouldn't fall into the hands of a young boy. Thinking of this, his figure flashed, and he quickly chased after Lin Ming. Brother, don't go. He caught up to Lin Xian again and said with a smile, Brother, perhaps you don't understand our Nangong Colosseum, but our Colosseum is one of the top Colosseum in Quicksand City. We have a huge amount of resources. If you join us, you won't suffer a loss. Nan Gongseng chattered on and began to explain the various benefits of the Nangong Colosseum to Lin Xian. In the end, Lin Xian felt a headache coming on. Brother Nan Gongseng, I'm really just an ordinary warrior. I was able to win just now because my opponent was too stupid. So don't chase after me. If you ask me to join, it will definitely be your Nangong Colosseum's loss. My strength is ordinary, so I'll only be wasting your resources. Lin Xian shook his head. No matter what, he wouldn't agree. Seeing this, Nan Gongseng knew that there was no chance this time. However, he didn't give up. If the first time wasn't enough, he would try a second time. If the second time wasn't enough, he would try a third time. He believed that his sincerity would be able to move Lin Xian sooner or later. If that's the case, then I won't force Brother Lin. However, I'm very happy to meet a friend like Brother Lin today. I wonder where Brother Lin lives now? Fortune Inn, Lin Xian said. Of course, he didn't live there. The name was just something he saw on the street when he passed by. Good. I'll invite Brother Lin to have some fun another day. Nan Gongseng turned and left. After bidding farewell to Nan Gongseng, Lin Xian let out a sigh of relief. He once again wandered around Quicksand City. However, not long after, he was intercepted again. A young man stood in front of him. He was tall and straight, and his clothes were exquisitely tailored. It was obvious that he was a disciple of a large family. Moreover, this young man had a very arrogant expression. He didn't place anyone in his eyes. You're Lin Xian? This voice carried a trace of cold arrogance. You are? Lin Xian asked in a deep voice, a trace of vigilance in his eyes. You're very lucky to have caught our attention. Come with me. The young man's expression was arrogant, and his tone was unquestionable. Where are we going? Who are you meeting? You don't have to ask. You'll know when you get there. The young man said in a deep voice. I'm sorry, I don't know you, and I won't go with you. Lin Xian shook his head. The other party's attitude disgusted him. You have to think clearly. In Quicksand City, no one can refuse us. It didn't happen before, but it doesn't mean it won't happen in the future. No matter who you are, I'm not interested. Lin Xian refused. It's good for young people to have some pride, but don't be too conceited. You have to know that being chosen by us is a blessing in itself. I hope you don't make a mistake. Lin Xian shook his head and refused decisively. There's no point in saying more. People who walk different paths cannot make plans together. Very good. No one has ever been able to reject us. Don't regret it when the time comes. The young man's expression was cold, and there was a trace of coldness in his tone. Then, he coldly snorted and quickly left. After the arrogant youth left, Lin Xian's face sank. Judging from the other party's tone and attitude, he should also be invited by some coliseum. Moreover, it should be the top coliseum. Receiving invitations from 2 top coliseums in succession, if it were an ordinary person, they would have been extremely excited. However, Lin Xian didn't feel any joy. It seemed that he had to be careful in Quicksand City. Otherwise, he might accidentally get involved in the storm of conflict. In the center of Quicksand City, there was a huge castle. This castle was different from the other buildings. It was completely black and made of black wood. In this city full of desert rocks, the sudden appearance of a magnificent building made of wood was indeed eye-catching. This majestic building was the famous Blackwood Stronghold, a great power in Quicksand City. At this moment, in a large hall of the Blackwood Stronghold, the previously arrogant youth was reporting to an old man. In addition to the old man, there were 7 or 8 other martial artists. At this moment, when everyone heard the young man's report, their faces sank. What? He's not coming? A middle-aged man coldly snorted. He's just a little spirit detecting martial artist. Does he really think he's a dish? He actually dares to refuse. No one could refuse the Blackwood Stronghold's request, unless they were dead. The arrogant youth said in a deep voice. Not only did that kid refuse, his attitude is very arrogant. He completely doesn't put the Blackwood Stronghold in his eyes. I suggest we eliminate him as a warning to others. Hearing this, the other martial artists also nodded in agreement. I'll go kill him. The middle-aged man snorted coldly. You can't. At this moment, the elder in the hall suddenly said in a deep voice. Before figuring out the opponent's identity, they shouldn't act rashly. Are we just going to let it go like this? The people below were unconvinced. It had always been them who refused others, and they had never been refused or refused by others. Now that they encountered this kind of thing, they naturally wouldn't let it go. There's an unwritten rule between the great powers. Generally, the matters of the younger generation should be settled by the younger generation. This rule has been going on for thousands of years. Even if someone wants to break it, it shouldn't be us. Therefore, we can't act, but you can. After saying this, the elder looked at the young man below. Hearing this, the young man's eyes lit up, then he said with a smile, "Elder, please don't worry. I know what to do." The older generation couldn't act, but that didn't mean they couldn't. The opponent's battle strength was equivalent to the late stage of the spirit detecting realm and wasn't too strong. With this kind of strength, any random expert from the Blackwood stronghold could instantly kill the opponent. "Elder, there's one more thing," the middle-aged man beside him said. "Bauer has been out for a few days and hasn't returned yet. I'm worried something happened." "What are you worried about? Who dares to touch the people of our Blackwood stronghold?" The elder snorted coldly. "Don't worry, that kid should have run out for fun. Besides, he brought a lot of guards with him, and with his identity, no one dares to touch him. He's very safe. All right, you can all leave," the elder said in a deep voice. Immediately, everyone left. The young man sneered, because he had already thought of how to deal with Lin Xian. "What do you plan to do?" the middle-aged man asked after leaving the hall. "Of course I'll hand him over to the one who can cause the most trouble." The young man's mouth raised into an evil smile. "That's good. Even if that kid has a great background, nothing will happen to that person. With her brother here, I'm afraid no one dares to touch her." The middle-aged man nodded. "Sandstorm Restaurant, 3rd floor." Lin Xian asked for a private room and ordered some food. Then he released the Crimson Dragon. "Ben Huang is suffocating." The Crimson Dragon was depressed. "I won't hide it even if you beat me to death. Otherwise, I'll suffocate to death." "Up to you," Lin Xian shrugged. "As long as you're not afraid of being caught to refine pills, I don't care. You win." At worst, Ben Huang won't say anything. Then the man and the two beasts began to sweep through the food on the table. At this moment, the door to the private room was kicked open with a bang. A martial artist wearing a black robe appeared at the door. "You're Lin Xian?" The martial artist's voice was cold. Chapter 572. "You're Lin Xian?" the black figure at the door asked. Lin Xian frowned and raised his head to look. He was really in a bad mood today. He had been stopped by people one after another. Even their meal was interrupted by someone. The figure in front of him was wearing a loose black robe. He had short hair and beautiful facial features, but there was a hint of anger on his face. Lin Xian was puzzled. He had never seen this person before, so he didn't know why he was angry. Seeing that Lin Xian didn't answer, the figure in front became even angrier. "I heard from my cousin that you were arrogant, but I didn't believe him. Now it seems that he was right. You're really an arrogant guy." Lin Xian was stunned. Arrogant? Did he say it was him? He was obviously dead. The other party continued. "You dare to reject our invitation. I'd like to see what you have to be so arrogant." After saying that, the person took out a dark red whip from his waist and coiled it around his hand. "Although I don't know where you come from, we're sparring with our peers. Even if I beat you to death, I'm sure your clan won't say anything. Take out your weapon. Hurry up and attack." Lin Xian frowned. From what he heard, it seemed that the older generation couldn't casually attack, but the younger generation didn't have any scruples. If that was the case, then he wasn't afraid at all. He had never been afraid of anyone in his generation. However, at this moment, the Crimson Dragon impatiently roared. "I say, kid, when did you get into trouble again? Hurry up and settle it, so you don't disturb Ben Huang's meal." The snow-white little monkey sat at the side, squinting his big eyes as if he was watching a show. Lin Xian curled his lips. "What trouble? It's obviously a guy. I don't have any special hobbies." Hearing this, the figure in front of him was speechless. His body trembled slightly, and he screamed, "Damn bastard! I want to fight you!" Whoosh! Whoosh! The dark red whip moved quickly, splitting the air in an instant. The table in front of Lin Xian was smashed into pieces, scattering all over the floor. Seeing the table of food destroyed, the Crimson Dragon was furious. "Kid, what's wrong with your eyes? She's obviously a little girl, okay?" The snow-white little monkey sat at the side, squinting his big eyes and nodding in agreement. Lin Xian helplessly touched his nose. "Is that so? The people here look too strange. Men look like women, and women look like men. I can't tell. At this moment, the girl, are you blind? Lee. But when he saw the black-robed girl, he was stunned. His angry expression disappeared and was replaced by a trace of fear and flattery. Isn't that the Black Pearl? How did this troublemaker come here? I don't know, but who is that young man in the private room? I'm afraid he's out of luck. Yeah, he provoked the Black Pearl. I'm afraid no one in Quicksand City can protect him. Alas, it can't be helped. She's the young lady of the Blackwood Fort, and she has an incomparably powerful brother. Hearing everyone's discussion, Lin Xian had a rough idea. The guy in front of him was actually a disciple of the Blackwood Fort. It seemed that it was the Blackwood Fort that wanted to poach him. Lin Xian didn't expect that not long after, he would run into people of the Blackwood Fort again. Previously, he killed a disciple of the Blackwood Fort on the road. Perhaps those people still didn't know, or else they wouldn't be in this situation. Girls always fight and kill. Be careful that you can't get married. Lin Xian said with a smile, I won't haggle over today's matter. You should leave quickly. Leave? In your dreams. Today I must have a duel with you. I must tie you up, you incomparably arrogant guy, and hang you on the city wall of Quicksand City for 3 days and 3 nights. Let everyone know your ugly face. Lin Xian was helpless. Who was the incomparably arrogant one? Who was the arrogant one? It seemed that the girl in front of him was really spoiled. Are you sure you want to have a duel with me? Lin Xian asked with a faint smile. Scared? I must beat you up, you hateful bastard. The Black Pearl said fiercely. You're not afraid of losing? Lin Xian asked. Lose? How can I lose? Except for my big brother. No one can beat me. The Black Pearl proudly puffed out her chest, like a victorious little phoenix. Hearing this, the corners of the surrounding warriors' mouths twitched. They certainly knew the reason why this Black Pearl didn't lose. It was because no one dared to really fight with her. Most of them just let her win. However, this little girl was remote and didn't know. She thought that she was invincible in Quicksand City, causing trouble everywhere. Since you insist, then I'll grant you your wish. Lin Xian shrugged as if he didn't care. Seeing Lin Xian's indifferent expression, the Black Pearl coldly snorted. She turned her head and shouted, Boss, let me borrow your martial battle stage. Martial battles were prevalent in Quicksand City, so there were special martial battle stages in some hotels. Moreover, this Winds and Restaurant used the martial battle stage to attract diners. Many people enjoyed the food while watching the competition on the stage. It could be said that they enjoyed it very much. At this time, the competition on the martial battle stage was quickly ended, and the 2 contestants were chased off the stage. The surrounding warriors didn't know what was going on, and they all roared. However, when the 2 figures on the stage, they were stunned. Fellow Taoists, today I, the Black Pearl, will borrow the martial battle stage to teach this hateful brat a lesson. The Black Pearl said, her voice spreading in all directions. Suddenly, the surrounding crowd boiled up. It was actually the little princess of Blackwood Stronghold who wanted to fight. This was definitely more exciting than watching other warriors fight. However, they didn't know who that young man was. He was actually so unlucky to be targeted by this unruly little princess. Humph, hateful bastard. Soon I will beat you until you kneel and beg for mercy. I'm looking forward to it. Lin Xian grinned. But what's the point of just fighting like this? What are you going to add? Martial battles weren't just a battle between warriors. They would all place bets before the competition. The winner would gain both fame and fortune. This was the most attractive part. The Black Pearl snorted, Humph, you know quite a lot. How about this? I have a high-grade spirit-ranked treasure sword here. If you win, the treasure sword will be yours. The Black Pearl waved her small hand, and a dazzling sword appeared in the void. When this treasure sword appeared, the crowd below suddenly exclaimed, and most of them stared up with fiery eyes. A high-grade spirit-ranked treasure was not a cabbage. It was a weapon that countless warriors dreamed of obtaining. Feeling everyone's envious gazes, the Black Pearl snorted and proudly raised her chin. What about you? What are you going to add? Don't tell me you're so poor that you don't have anything? The Black Pearl said disdainfully. Lin Xian exclaimed in his heart. As expected of a disciple of a large family, She casually took out a high-grade spirit rank treasure. Then he smiled. He had many good things on him, but he couldn't take them out. His eyes swept over, and he grabbed the crimson dragon and threw it forward. This is it. This is a strange beast that contains a trace of the flood dragon's bloodline. If it's nurtured well, it will definitely have a super strong battle strength. How is it? This thing isn't any weaker than your high-grade spirit rank treasure. Chapter 573. The crimson dragon was thrown to the front. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws in anger. It stared at Lin Xin fiercely and almost roared, but in the end, it restrained itself. Otherwise, a talking snake would cause a commotion and he wouldn't be able to escape. "Don't worry, I won't lose you," Lin Xin said. The crimson dragon reluctantly walked to the side. Unexpectedly, the Black Pearl looked at the crimson dragon and shook her head. "I don't want this little snake. I want that little monkey." Then she stared at the little white monkey with a face full of joy. It was obvious that she liked the little white monkey very much and wanted it for herself. The crimson dragon almost broke its teeth from clenching them and almost spat out a mouthful of blood. When had it, a member of the divine dragon race, ever been looked down upon like this? "Stinky brat, little girl, Ben Huang will remember you too. Don't fall into my hands, or Ben Huang will roast you." The crimson dragon cursed in its heart. "Okay, I promise you," Lin Xian said with a smile as he grabbed the crimson dragon. Then he looked at the crimson dragon with disdain and complained, "So useless. No one wants you. You should obediently crawl into my sleeve." The crimson dragon couldn't bear it anymore. It turned into a rainbow and quickly left. If it stayed here any longer, it would probably go crazy from anger. "You've lost for sure. The little white monkey will be mine." The Black Pearl snorted. Then her body swayed like a ghost. The dark red soft whip in her hand was ruthless. It was like a flood dragon surging in the air. This attack was extremely fierce. The Black Pearl was originally a martial artist at the late stage of the spirit detecting realm. With her extraordinary soft whip attack, even martial artists at the same level might not be her match, let alone a martial artist at the middle stage of the spirit detecting realm. Therefore, the people below didn't think Lin Xian would win. Lin Xian was slightly surprised by Black Pearl's strength. It seemed that although she was arrogant, she was not weak. However, he wasn't afraid. This little bit of strength couldn't do anything to him. With a faint smile, Lin Xian pushed off the ground and rushed out like a phantom. For a moment, the entire battle arena was filled with his silhouette. "Wow, this kid's movement technique is so cool. I didn't expect a mid-stage spirit-detecting realm martial artist to have such speed. It is indeed rare." Hearing everyone's praises, Black Pearl's face turned cold. She let out a delicate shout, and the dark red whip in her hand danced, forming a spiral attack. Streaks of light from the whip rapidly spread out in all directions with him at the center. For a moment, all the phantoms that came into contact with it were split in half. Soon, all the phantoms on the fighting ring disappeared. Looking at the disappearing phantoms, Black Pearl snorted and lifted her chin proudly. She thought that it wouldn't be long before all those illusions disappeared. At that time, she would teach that little thief a lesson. However, before this beautiful wish could come true, her body suddenly froze. "Don't move, or you will lose your life." A cold voice came from behind her. Black Pearl didn't dare to move because there was a cold sword aura at the back of her head. Soon, the sky full of whip lights disappeared. When everyone saw this, they were even more shocked. To be honest, they didn't see Lin Xian's figure at all, and they didn't know how Lin Xian appeared behind Black Pearl. "I didn't think that the little princess of Blackwood Stronghold would lose in one move. Who is that youth? What terrifying strength!" Everyone was speechless. In the crowd, an extremely beautiful figure looked at the stage and nodded. "He is indeed a hidden expert. I knew my eyes wouldn't be wrong." This beautiful figure was naturally Nan Gongseng. He was currently staring at Lin Xian, thinking of a way to poach Lin Xian to his Nan Gongseng family. "You lost. The upper-grade treasure sword is mine." Lin Xian retracted his hand and smiled again. Black Pearl's little face turned black and annoyed. "That doesn't count. You attacked me sneakily. Let's go again. Again? Sure, take out your prize. Lin Xian put away the upper-grade treasure sword and smiled. The crowd below also cheered. That's right, little princess. Continue to fight with him. You must defeat him. Take out 100 upper-grade treasures and fight for a few hundred rounds. Black Pearl's face was annoyed as she fiercely looked around. Then, her little face turned red. I was in a hurry today and didn't have time to bring so many upper-grade treasures. Forget it then. I won't fight with you if there's no prize. Lin Xian shrugged, looking like he couldn't help. You. Black Pearl was furious. She gritted her teeth and said, I'll owe you the prize first. Our Blackwood clan will never owe you anything. Since you want to give me treasures, I won't stop you. Lin Xian smiled with a hint of slyness in his eyes. Soon, the two continued to fight, but each time, it was finished in one move. After 3 times, Black Pearl's little face fell, and she didn't dare to fight anymore. Although she was a disciple of a big clan, losing 3 upper-grade spirit treasures in one go was still very painful. What, do you still want to fight? Lin Xian asked with a smile. Black Pearl's little face bulged as she glared fiercely at Lin Xian. This guy in front of her was too hateful. She was riding a tiger and couldn't get off. It doesn't matter. If the treasures are gone, we can bet on something else. Seeing that you're so capable, it's not bad to be a little maid. Or you can repay me with your body, Lin Xian said casually. Hearing this, Black Pearl's little face turned red and a trace of panic appeared on her face. The crowd below was even more rowdy as they shouted, Bet with him! Bet with him! You just wait. I won't let you go. Black Pearl screamed and ran away like a frightened rabbit. Remember, you still owe me 3 upper-grade treasures, Lin Xian shouted. Hearing this, the escaping figure trembled and almost fell. Then, she ran away at an even faster speed. Okay, the show is over. Disperse. Lin Xian quickly left the arena. Brother Lin, please wait. A beautiful figure walked out from the crowd. Oh, it's Brother Nan Gongsheng. Lin Xian smiled bitterly. If you're here to persuade me, then don't say anything. Brother Lin is a true man. Don't worry, I'm not here to persuade you. I'm here to treat you to a drink. Nan Gongsheng laughed and pulled Lin Xian to the side. Brother Lin, I must give you a toast. Nan Gongsheng raised his wine cup and smiled. Brother Lin is too bold. Did you know that in Quicksand City, no one dares to provoke Black Pearl? Not to mention winning 4 matches in a row. Oh, is that so? Lin Xian grabbed his wine cup and drained it in one gulp before asking. As far as I know, Blackwood Stronghold is not the only big family in Quicksand City. Indeed, Blackwood Stronghold is very powerful, but they can't cover the sky with one hand. For example, our Nan Gongsheng family is not weaker than them at all. And there's another reason why most family disciples are not willing to provoke Black Pearl. Chapter 574. What's the reason? Lin Xian was puzzled. Because she has a good brother. Nan Gongsheng said. Her brother, He Muya, is one of the top young experts in the entire Sha region. His strength is unfathomable, and he's known as one of the strongest people below venerables. Her brother, He Muya, was known as one of the top young warriors in the Sha region. The Sha region was very large, almost as large as the Tianan region. Moreover, the level of martial arts here far exceeded that of the Tianan region. One could imagine the strength of the top young warriors. Lin Xian was surprised. He didn't expect the Black Pearl's brother to be such a hero. However, he wasn't too worried. With the great dragon sword spirit, he believed that he wouldn't lose to anyone. Seeing Lin Xian's calm face, Nan Gongsheng praised. Brother Lin, you're really bold. It's nothing. Lin Xian shook his head. I only fought a few matches with the Black Pearl. I don't think her brother will bother me because of this. So, I have nothing to be afraid of. Lin Xian smiled, then raised his cup and drained it in one gulp. Right, it's not convenient to stay in inns these days. Are there any good courtyards? I want to buy one. I know a few famous ones. What kind of one does Brother Lin want? The others don't matter, as long as it's quiet. That's easy, just leave it to me. However, Brother Lin, The houses in Quicksand City aren't cheap. It can even be said that every inch of land is worth its weight in gold. Actually, you don't need to do this. If you join our Nan Gongseng family, I guarantee that you'll immediately get an exquisite courtyard. Lin Xin smiled. Judging from Nan Gongseng's tone, it seemed that he wasn't going to completely give up on poaching him. Forget it. I still have the money. Lin Xin took out the spiritual high-grade artifact he just won. This sword should be enough for me to buy a good courtyard. Seeing this, Nan Gongsheng sucked in a breath of cold air. You can, but are you really willing to sell this high-grade spiritual grade artifact? There's nothing to be reluctant about, Lin Xin said. Besides, this belongs to the Darkwood family. It's hot to hold it in my hands. It's better to get rid of it as soon as possible. That way, we can move to another courtyard. Haha, Brother Lin is so bold. Leave this matter to me. I guarantee you'll be satisfied. Nan Gongseng took the artifact. In a corner not far away, the Black Pearl was hiding at the side. When she saw this scene, she was so angry that her teeth itched. That damned bastard actually sold a high-grade spirit-level artifact. How infuriating. What's even more detestable is that the gigolo actually dared to accept it. He's really too detestable. No, I can't take this lying down. I must take revenge. Black Pearl could not help but snort coldly, then quickly retreated. Lin Xin and Nan Gongseng took big gulps of wine and left the Winds and restaurant after a long time. Just as the two of them stepped out of the door, a black shadow suddenly flashed from the side and quickly slashed towards them. This attack was too sudden and as fast as lightning. It was impossible to guard against it. Lin Xian's soul power had already sensed the danger. With a tap of his foot, his body moved horizontally and easily dodged the attack. However, Nan Gongseng was not so lucky. Seeing that the black shadow was about to land on his head, Nan Gongseng let out a low roar and used all his strength to protect his body. Pong! A low sound rang out and the air trembled. The surrounding people exclaimed and all went around. Nan Gongseng was even more miserable. The defense in front of him had already cracked. One could imagine how terrifying this attack was. Not only that, but he also felt the blood in his body churning. He felt dizzy and almost lost his balance. Fortunately, Lin Xian came out in time and supported him. Nan Gongseng quickly used a cultivation method to forcibly suppress the boiling blood. Then, he looked around fiercely. Which blind fool dares to hit me? You don't want to live anymore. That's right. I'm hitting you. A delicate voice rang out and Black Pearl's figure appeared in front of everyone. You two despicable bastards. How dare you buy my upper-grade artifact? How despicable. Especially a she-male like you. How dare you accept it? I'll beat you to death. Black Pearl stared at Nan Gongseng with an unfriendly expression. Nan Gongseng, who was originally aggressive, became less angry after seeing Black Pearl. However, when he heard the words she-male, he jumped up like a wild cat whose tail had been stepped on. You're the she-male. Your whole family are she-males. I'm a real man. Nan Gongseng roared. You dare to scold me? Black Pearl was also anxious. Nothing like this had ever happened before. Now, there were people who dared to go against her one after another. So what if I'm scolding you? You're the one who hit me first. Nan Gongseng was also anxious. No matter what, he was still a member of the Nan Gongseng family and a famous martial scout. If word got out that he had hit her, it would be a joke, even if the other party was Black Pearl. Seeing that the two of them were going to continue arguing, Lin Xin sighed and turned to Black Pearl. Why? Are you here to return the 3 upper-grade artifacts to me? With that, Lin Xin waved the IOU in his hand. Hearing this, Black Pearl's face fell. Then, she glared at Lin Xin fiercely. You're ruthless. Just you wait. Black Pearl gritted her teeth and stomped her feet. Forget it. Ignore her. Lin Xin pulled Nan Gongseng and continued on their way. However, Black Pearl was like a small dog following behind the two of them. They couldn't get rid of her. In the end, the two of them chose to ignore her. Nan Gongseng regained his composure and said to Lin Xian, there was a manor up ahead that was extremely quiet. It should suit Brother Lin's taste. Hearing Nan Gongseng's introduction, Lin Xian was curious and planned to take a look. If it was good enough, he would buy it. After all, It was Black Pearl's upper-grade artifacts, so he didn't feel any heartache. However, at this moment, they passed by a huge arena. Lin Xian suddenly stopped. "Brother Lin, what's wrong?" Nan Gongseng asked. Then, he followed Lin Xian's gaze. "This is the Wang family's arena. It's average, but not as good as our Nan Gongseng," Nan Gongseng said. He didn't forget to show off his family. "How's the business here?" Lin Xian asked. "It's okay. After all, the Wang family is a mid-tier force in Quicksand City." "How's the wheel challenge here?" Nan Gongseng was startled. Most of the Wang family's martial artists are at the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm. There are a few at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. As for the peak of the spirit-detecting realm, there are at most 2. Usually, only one comes here. After all, most of the people who come here are ordinary martial artists. The peak of the spirit-detecting realm can do this. Those geniuses won't come here. They will go to the top arenas. "So it's like that. When is this place the most crowded?" Lin Xian asked. "At night," Nan Gongseng replied. "Brother Lin, you're not going to fight, are you?" Chapter 575. Lin Xian smiled and said, "My hands are suddenly itching. Let's come here tonight and play." Nan Gongseng was a bit surprised. He didn't know why Lin Xian was suddenly interested in the Wang family's arena. What he didn't know was that in the setting sun desert, Lin Xian had almost been framed by a girl from the Wang family. Thinking of that vicious woman, Lin Xian was still a bit angry. Now that he had encountered the Wang family's arena, he naturally wouldn't let it go. "Let's go and take a look at that mansion first. We'll come here tonight to play a few rounds." "Okay." Nan Gongseng smiled. The Wang family's arena wasn't too bad. With a peak spirit detecting expert overseeing it, they should be able to test Lin Xian's battle prowess tonight. Looking at the sandstone courtyard in front of him, Lin Xian smiled. "How is it, Brother Lin? Are you satisfied?" Nan Gongseng asked. "Very good. It's spacious and quiet. It's a good place to live in a busy city." Brother Nan Gongseng is too considerate. Of course I have to be considerate. Otherwise, I wouldn't be worthy of the price of a high-grade treasure. Wouldn't that make me seem useless? The two joked. Behind them, Black Pearl coldly snorted and gnashed her teeth. "I've already found your nest. Just wait for your bad luck." Nan Gongseng shrugged. In any case, he didn't live here, so he wasn't afraid. Lin Xian directly ignored her. With his strength, as long as it wasn't someone from the older generation, he wouldn't be in any danger. They went in to rest. Soon, evening arrived. At night, Quicksand City was even more lively. The entire city was brightly lit, filled with singing and dancing. It was several times livelier than during the day. The various arenas, restaurants, and brothels were even more lively. It was as if the entire city had come alive. Lin Xian and Nan Gongseng walked toward the Wang family's arena. Black Pearl was still following behind them. She wanted to figure out Lin Xian's strength before finding someone to act against. Tonight was the best opportunity. At this moment, the Wang family's arena was bustling with noise and excitement. In order not to attract attention, Nan Gongseng and Black Pearl wore large robes to cover their faces. Originally, the two of them did not agree. With their status, there was no need for them to do this. Moreover, if they revealed their identity and entered, they would definitely be able to obtain the highest level of service. However, Lin Xian refused. He didn't come here to enjoy himself. When Lin Xian said that he was here to cause trouble, the two of them were stunned for a moment before they were pleasantly surprised. The Black Pearl seemed to have forgotten its previous hatred as it danced with joy. Nan Gongsheng was a little worried. One had to know that the Wang clan had a martial artist at the limit of the spirit-detecting realm. Although Lin Xian was strong, in his opinion, compared to a martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm, he was still a bit lacking. "Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I won't mess around." In the end, Nan Gongseng and his companion agreed to Lin Xian's conditions and put on loose robes. They arrived at the Wang clan's arena. It was extremely huge inside, and there was not only one martial stage. Dozens of arenas formed an arc for the spectators to admire. Not only was each arena wide and sturdy, but it also had a special defensive array formation. It not only guaranteed the spectators' enjoyment, but also protected them from harm. From this, it could be seen that the martial arts industry in Quicksand City had developed to a very perfect state. Before participating in the martial arts competition, Lin Xian understood the rules of the martial arts competition. There were two most common types. One was a one-on-one challenge. The other was a round-robin challenge, which meant that the challenger could continuously challenge until they lost. They would receive rewards based on the number of matches they won. These rewards were much more generous than the one-on-one challenges. However, it was also much more difficult. This was because the opponent in the round-robin challenge could be anyone, and the Zhuang clan had a large number of elites prepared to snipe the contestants at any time. Therefore, the number of matches that the contestants could win wasn't many. There weren't many who could win 10 matches in a row. After Lin Xian finished registering, he returned to his seat and waited. At this moment, there were martial artists fighting fiercely on the martial stages in front of him. The crowd below was crazily shouting. Lin Xian discovered that the lowest cultivation level of the contestants was at the middle stage of the spirit-detecting realm. Most of them were at the late stage. After all, martial arts flourished here, and the heavenly south region couldn't compare. Bang! On one of the martial stages, the air violently shook, and a figure flew out. His opponent, on the other hand, was standing proudly in the center. Xiahe! Xiahe! Countless people shouted loudly. Lin Xian also looked up and saw that the winner was standing with his hands behind his back and a slender, soft sword hanging from his waist. A fierce aura spread out from his body. Xiahe is too strong. He sent an opponent of the same cultivation level flying with a light sweep. Yes, although he is only at the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm, his battle prowess is already at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. He is already a powerful existence among the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm. I'm afraid that even a peak spirit-detecting realm martial artist might not be able to win. Everyone was shocked and envious. Xiahe shouted, "It's still a one-on-one challenge, and the prize remains the same. Who else wants to come up?" Hearing this, everyone looked at each other in shock. Normally, one-on-one challenges wouldn't be carried out consecutively, but Xiahe wanted to fight consecutively. It was obvious that he was very confident in his own strength. Otherwise, no one would dare to take this risk. "I'll go." A loud voice rang out. It was like a huge bell that spread out in all directions. Some of the weaker martial artists were shaken to the point that their ears trembled, and the blood in their bodies surged. Who is this? It's so powerful. The next moment, a bronze-skinned man walked onto the stage. Every step he took caused the entire stage to tremble. Isn't this Rockhand Jinsheng? This guy is at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. Xiahe must have been too arrogant just now. This Jinsheng couldn't stand it and came up. Thinking of this, everyone was excited and looked carefully. One of them was a swordsman whose battle prowess was at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm, while the other was a true peak spirit-detecting realm martial artist. When the two met, it would definitely be an intense battle. "Make your move. Let me see what you're capable of." Jin Chung sneered. His skin glowed and quickly changed. In the end, it turned into a rock-like defense. In an instant, Jin Cheng's entire body turned into rock. He was like a stone man. This Jin Cheng was just as the rumors said. He could turn his body into rock and greatly increase his defense and strength. He was too strong. With this method, he was already invincible. How could anyone fight him? Everyone was shocked. They shook their heads and exclaimed. "Blazing rock sky opening hand." Jin Cheng shouted in a low voice. Like a stone man, he quickly rushed forward. He waved his hand, and it quickly grew. Layers of strange patterns appeared on his rock arm. An incomparably violent force surged out of his arm and instantly tore the void apart. The air split and turned into rolling waves. The terrifying force shattered everything in front of it. It was like a huge mountain was moving quickly. "Humph! Idiot who only knows how to use brute force." Xiahe sneered and quickly pulled out his flexible sword. Chapter 576. He waved his arm and stabbed out with his sword. The sword curved like a ribbon, making it hard for people to see its trajectory. The sword stabbed out like a poisonous snake swinging its tail, quickly hitting the stone-like arm. Whoosh! The soft sword touched his arm, as if a ribbon was gently brushing past. Such weak strength. It has no effect on me at all. Jin Chung sneered. With your strength, you're pitifully weak. I can blow you up with one punch. However, just as he finished speaking, his body trembled rapidly. Then, a heart-wrenching pain came from his arm, causing his face to contort. Jin Chung held his arm in pain and charged around like an injured beast. On the other side, Xiaohe put away his flexible sword and sneered. What's going on? The crowd was in an uproar, unable to understand. Why did the powerful Jin Chung suddenly become so crazy? It looks like he's seriously injured. What did Xiaohe do? Was it that sword just now? But it didn't have any power. Xiaohe's sword had injured Jin Cheng's arm, causing a commotion. They couldn't see through the mysteries of that sword. In the arena, Xiaohe sneered with his hands behind his back. How could these stupid martial artists understand his move? Damn it, what method did that guy use to injure his opponent? Black Pearl was puzzled. Lin Xian said in a low voice, it's internal force. He must have mastered a very strange method of exerting force. He used internal force to penetrate his opponent's defense and injure his arm. If you don't know in advance, it's easy to be injured. Hearing Lin Xian's explanation, Black Pearl and Nan Gongseng finally understood. This guy just appeared recently. He must be a martial artist from another place. It looks like his potential isn't bad. I wonder how strong he really is. Nan Gongseng said while rubbing his chin. It looked like he was thinking of poaching people for his family again. His true strength should be at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. However, his method of exerting force is too strange. He can injure his opponent unexpectedly. If you can predict his defense, it'll be easy to defeat him. Lin Xian smiled. You speak as if it's true. If you have the ability, go and defeat him. Black Pearl snorted. Lin Xian shrugged and said nothing. His goal was the Wheel of Attrition challenge, so he wouldn't consider anything else. Moreover, he already knew about the opponent's strange attacks. If they really fought, he would put in more defense and not let the opponent succeed. At this moment, a black figure suddenly appeared in the corridor on the second floor like a ghost. This was an old man with a black robe and white hair. His skin was as smooth as a baby's, and at that moment, he smiled. To be able to challenge someone of a higher rank, his strength is not bad. When the competition is over, invite him over and see if he's willing to join our Wang clan. Yes. The surrounding guards replied respectfully. At this moment, on the central martial platform, the burly man, Jin Chung, was holding his arm with a ferocious expression. His heart was burning with rage. Originally, he wanted to destroy the other party's prestige, but he didn't expect that he would be hit by the other party's move. They had just exchanged blows, and one of his arms was almost crippled. This made him extremely angry. Brat, I'm going to kill you. Jin Chung roared. You? An idiot who only knows how to use brute force. I'll give you a chance. Hurry up and admit defeat, or don't blame me for being impolite. Xiaohe sneered. Brat, you're courting death. Jin Chung roared. He temporarily suppressed the injury to his right arm and quickly waved his left palm, blasting it forward. This time, he had learned his lesson. He didn't choose to fight in close range, but from a distance. As long as he didn't come into contact with that strange flexible sword, he wouldn't be injured. This time, he would use his cultivation to crush the other party. The void floated, and a 30-meter-long rock palm quickly formed. It was like a mountain of rock, sticking close to the ground and moving quickly. At the same time, his body released light, and strange patterns appeared on the surface of the rock. They quickly spread, forming a pressure that filled the sky and spread out in all directions. In an instant, the halo covered half of the platform, and an extremely terrifying pressure was produced, as if it could crush everything. This power was extremely violent and was produced by his rock body. It could suppress most peak spirit-detecting experts, and its strength was incomparably strong. Two terrifying attacks were launched at almost the same time, enveloping Xiaohe. Bang! Everywhere they passed, the ground collapsed, and the air cracked. Whoosh! When the two attacks were close, Xiaohe suddenly moved. He was like a ray of silver light, flashing quickly. His steps were very strange. He was like a silver ribbon, drifting unpredictably. Every time he appeared, he would appear in unexpected places. Jin Cheng's two terrifying attacks only brushed past his afterimage and didn't cause him any damage. In the next moment, a silver light flashed, and Xiaohi's figure appeared, directly arriving beside Jin Cheng. The silver flexible sword stabbed out like a silver poisonous snake, vicious and fierce to the extreme. In an instant, the flexible sword slammed into Jin Cheng's chest. Like a poisonous snake, it was extremely fast. Not good. Jin Cheng's expression changed greatly. He quickly used his rock body, forming waves of rock that enveloped his body and constantly rotated. A thick and hard layer of defense formed in front of him. Even a martial artist of the same level would find it difficult to break through. However, Xiaohi sneered disdainfully. The flexible sword surged like silver lightning, quickly slamming into the defense. Then, he withdrew his sword and quickly retreated. There was a trace of a victor's smile on his face. Stupid guy, you didn't even understand my attack before coming up. You're courting death. On the opposite side, Jin Cheng's pupil shrank. His body trembled rapidly, and then he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Just a moment ago, he said that he had extremely heavy internal injuries. However, what shocked him was that his body didn't suffer any external injuries. The attack seemed to have penetrated his defense and directly entered his body. What kind of attack is this? He was shocked. He had never seen such a strange attack before. At this moment, a deep sense of fear appeared in his heart. His opponent's attack had completely ignored his defense. How could he continue fighting? No matter how strong his defense was, it was useless. I admit defeat. Jin Cheng was terrified and quickly admitted defeat. Then, he quickly took out 2 healing pills and went to the side to recuperate. He didn't dare to continue fighting. He had already suffered serious internal injuries. If he didn't recuperate, his body would be crippled. Useless trash. Who else? Xiaohi snorted coldly. Everyone was shocked. Even a martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm like Jin Cheng had lost. No one else dared to go up. Moreover, they didn't understand Xiaohi's attack at all. It would be futile even if they went up. Seeing that no one accepted the challenge, Xiaohi was disappointed. Then, he sneered and walked down the stage. After Xiaohi walked down the stage, an old man in a red robe appeared on the stage. The old man said loudly, "Everyone, you're in for a treat. The next martial artist has chosen to challenge you in turns. How many rounds can he win? Let's wait and see." Chapter 577. After the red-robed elder finished speaking, his figure flashed and he appeared to the side. Oh, someone actually chose to take turns to fight. I wonder who it is this time? I can't wait any longer. This time, I have to bet correctly. Everyone was excited and excited. The odds for this kind of battle were much higher than other competitions. If they could win, they could even become rich overnight. At this moment, a sweet-looking servant girl wearing revealing clothes slowly walked up to Lin Xian and respectfully said, "Lin Gongzi, please go on stage." Lin Xian nodded to show that he understood. Then he took out a storage ring and threw it to Nan Gongseng. "Bet on me, 10 wins in a row." 10 wins in a row? The servant girl was stunned. Shock appeared on her face. She had worked in the Wang family's arena for many years and rarely saw anyone who could achieve 10 wins in a row. The youth in front of her was only at the middle stage of the spirit-detecting realm, yet he dared to boast like this? If he wasn't an expert, then he was an idiot. But looking at him, he didn't look like an expert at all. The beautiful girl regained her composure and revealed a look of disdain. In her view, the youth in front of her was clearly boasting. The Black Pearl also snorted. 10 wins in a row? You? Dream on. No one believed that Lin Xian could achieve 10 wins in a row. It had to be known that very few people could achieve 10 wins in a row, because 10 battles would exhaust a cultivator's stamina. Moreover, as the competition progressed, the bookmaker could clearly figure out the cultivator's patterns and habits. They would definitely choose different cultivators to restrain. Therefore, unless one was a super powerful cultivator, It would be very difficult for a normal person to achieve 10 wins in a row. However, Nan Gongseng still planned to do as Lin Xian said. He held the storage ring in his hand and reached out with his soul perception. He was immediately shocked. There were 10 boxes of mid-grade spirit stones inside, which probably amounted to around 300,000. This wasn't a small number. Moreover, he could take out so many spirit stones in one go with such a casual look. It was obvious that Lin Xian didn't care about these spirit stones at all. Where did this guy come from? Nan Gongseng was very curious. He was certain that Lin Xian definitely came from a large force, but he was still unclear as to which force it was. Little Pearl, I advise you to bet on Lin Xian. Why? Only he can win 10 times in a row. Black Pearl coldly snorted. It's up to you whether you believe me or not. In any case, I've already warned you. You should know that he's here to cause trouble. Do you think he'll compensate the Wang clan with spirit stones for nothing? How many spirit stones does he plan to bet? Black Pearl asked. Take a look for yourself. Nan Gongsheng tossed the storage ring over. Black Pearl took it and quickly sensed it. Then, her small mouth opened in shock. How many bad things has this despicable bastard done? How could he have so many spirit stones? Black Pearl's eyes were filled with stars. All right, the competition is about to start. Let's hurry up and place our bets. After that, the two of them quickly placed their bets and rushed back to watch the competition. They had all bet on Lin Xian. Among them, Lin Xian had bet 300,000 medium spiritual stones, Nan Gongseng 30,000, and Black Pearl 50,000. When they returned to their seats, Black Pearl looked at Nan Gongseng and said viciously while grinding her small canine teeth, I've bet all my pocket money on the two of you. If the two of you dare to cheat me, don't blame me for being rude. Nan Gongseng's mouth twitched. To be honest, he had no confidence in Lin Xian. Of course, he didn't dare to be 100% sure. In the end, he could only change the topic. Stop talking. The competition is about to start. Black Pearl snorted softly and looked at the arena. Everyone, please be quiet. Let's invite the contestant of the wheel challenge, Lin Xian, to the arena. The old man in red robe said loudly, Lin Xian? I've never heard of him. He should be a newcomer. I wonder what kind of person he is. It's best if he's an expert. Let's start quickly. I can't wait. Everyone was excited and looked forward to it. In the next moment, a figure appeared on the martial stage. It was a youth around 17 or 18 years old. He had a smile on his face and a calm expression. This is the challenger? Everyone was excited and looked at the youth. However, in the next moment, they were all shocked. Many people even exclaimed, What is going on? It's actually a martial artist at the middle stage of the spirit detecting realm. Heavens, this is too childish. A martial artist at the middle stage of the spirit detecting realm wants to participate in the wheel challenge? I'm afraid he'll lose in the first round. Many people sneered. They didn't think that the youth on the stage would win. So it's him. Kid, let me see what kind of ability you have. At this moment, there was an arrogant youth sitting in the VIP seats. He was the disciple of the Blackwood stronghold, Blackwood Mountain, who had come to invite Lin Xian. At this moment, he looked at the martial stage and sneered. The reason why his family had taken a fancy to Lin Xian was because of his potential. If his family were to nurture him, he would definitely be able to become an outstanding fighter in a few years. But right now, a martial artist at the middle stage of the spirit detecting realm was too weak. What an arrogant kid. You dare to challenge him in a wheel challenge? You're courting death. Although the Wang family's battle arena is only a medium battle arena, not just anyone can behave atrociously here. Blackwood Mountain sneered. He was prepared to enjoy the scene of Lin Xian's defeat. At this moment, Lin Xian stood on the stage and looked around. He took in everyone's reaction. Facing everyone's doubtful gazes, he didn't do anything extreme. Instead, he smiled and said in a clear voice, My goal today is 10 consecutive victories. I hope everyone can give me some advice. What? 10 consecutive victories? Him? Is this kid crazy? Could it be that some idiot wants to come here to play to the gallery? I don't know. I think his registration fee of 3,000 mid-grade spirit stones is going to be wasted. Even the red-robed judge sneered and rolled his eyes. Blackwood Mountain laughed. In his opinion, this kid might not even win one match, yet he dared to say that he wanted to win 10 matches. It seemed that this kid not only didn't know how to appreciate favors, but he was also a big idiot. Luckily, he didn't take him in back then. Otherwise, he would be a disaster for the family. Blackwood Mountain rejoiced in his heart. Not only him, but the entire battle arena was about to explode. Sounds of ridicule and disdain could be heard everywhere. At this moment, the red-robed elder's voice sounded again. I believe everyone already knows the rules of the wheel challenge. Whoever defeats the challenger will win half of his reward. This opportunity can't be missed. I hope everyone doesn't miss it. Defeating the challenger and winning half of the reward was a method used by the banker to provoke the other martial artists. Soon, a martial artist jumped onto the stage. Kid, let me see what kind of ability you have to dare to boast so shamelessly. Chapter 578. This was a late-stage spirit-detecting realm martial artist. He held 2 blades in his hands and had a cold smile on his face. Begin, the red-robed elder said. The young martial artist laughed and waved the blades in his hands, forming a bright blade aura that swept out in a circle. This attack was powerful enough to split mountains and rivers. It was swift and fierce to the extreme. However, the blade aura was only halfway there when it suddenly shattered. Then, the dual-blade martial artist's body trembled, and he was suddenly sent flying. What? This is impossible. The dual-blade martial artist landed on the ground, his body constantly twitching. Countless golden arcs of lightning danced on his body, releasing a terrifying power of thunder and lightning that caused his body to tremble rapidly. Everyone below was stunned, as if they were stone statues. The entire arena was terrifyingly silent. After a long time, everyone regained their senses. They looked ahead and sucked in a cold breath. Most of them didn't even see Lin Xin's movements. Who is this kid? He's so powerful. He actually sent a late-stage spirit-detecting realm martial artist flying with one move. This is a challenge above his level. Everyone was shocked. It seemed that this youth was far more powerful than they had imagined. Even the red-robed judge was shocked. He looked at Lin Xin a few more times and said, "The challenger has won." The challenge continues. Once this voice was heard, many people cried out. Because in the first round, they had all bet on Lin Xin losing, but they didn't expect this result. Damn it, my spirit stones. No, this time I have to see clearly before I place my bet. Many people regretted and became cautious. In the VIP seats, Blackwood Mountain looked at Lin Xian on the stage with an extremely ugly expression. The challenge continues, the red-robed judge said in a deep voice. The crowd below was in an uproar. Soon, another martial artist walked onto the stage. Kid, I'll fight you. It was a young man. Although he couldn't be considered handsome, he had a trace of cold arrogance. This person was also a late-stage spirit-detecting realm martial artist, but his aura was even more powerful than the previous martial artist. Iron Chain River Blockade. The young man waved his hand, and a spirit spear condensed in his hand. It carried an endless amount of violence as it swept over. The spear radiance was like a great river, flowing endlessly, instantly tearing the void apart. Lin Xian's figure swayed like duckweed, shuttling through the countless spear auras. Suddenly, he stretched out his palm and waved it continuously. Above the palm wind, golden electric arcs danced, forming a huge palm of lightning. It was 10 feet tall and spread out in all directions. The lightning exploded, instantly going out of control. Lightning danced wildly. This golden lightning palm was too violent. It shattered all the spear lights in the sky with a single palm. Then, it blasted towards the other party in an even more violent manner. The young man dodged with extreme speed, retreating explosively. That huge lightning palm blossomed with a dazzling light. Lightning crackled on it, and golden snakes danced wildly. In the end, the young man was struck by the golden lightning palm and was sent flying, landing on the arena. He had defeated his opponent with one move again. Everyone cried out in alarm, unable to believe this. The martial artists who went up this time were much stronger than the previous ones, but they still couldn't escape the fate of being defeated in one move. On the other hand, Lin Xian's palm strike seemed very calm, as if he hadn't used much strength at all. Who was this guy? What terrifying strength! Heavens, could he be a genius martial artist from outside the realm? It's possible. Next time, we must bet on him to win. Although Lin Xian didn't display overwhelming violence, he had defeated his opponent with one move. This still shocked everyone. The red-robed referee took a deep breath and loudly said, "The challenger has won." The challenge continues. The middle stage of the spirit-detecting realm. To be able to defeat a late-stage spirit-detecting realm martial artist in one move, his strength must be very close to the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. Interesting. Let me have a go at you. A young man in white clothes walked out. This young man's eyes were sharp, and he was as fast as lightning. He left behind an afterimage as he quickly arrived on the arena. It's Lu Yun. He actually made a move. Lu Yun is only at the late stage of the spirit-detecting realm, but his strength is comparable to a peak spirit-detecting realm martial artist. He is indeed a terrifying opponent. Yes, especially his blood demon 8 blades. When he uses them, he completely disregards his life. Even a peak spirit-detecting realm martial artist wouldn't dare to take them head-on. It seems like this youth called Lin Xian is going to be unlucky. It's possible. With Lu Yun making a move, he should be able to snipe that youth. AI. He can only blame himself for being too arrogant. He actually defeated his opponent with one move in the first 2 matches. I'm afraid many people won't be able to bear it. Aya, quickly place your bets. The odds are very high this time. Everyone discussed. With Lu Yun making a move, they didn't have high hopes for Lin Xian. Brat, you're very arrogant. Lu Yun sneered. I'll tell you that this isn't a place where you can act wildly. Then he took out his blood-colored blade and quickly slashed down. This Lu Yun was very decisive and didn't have any intention of being sloppy. The blood-colored blade energy surged and swept out in all directions. It was like a blood-colored waterfall dancing in the air. Blood Demon 8 blades. In an instant, 8 large rays of light shot out and blood mist filled the air. The entire space was dyed blood red. The blade energy was like a waterfall as it crisscrossed in the air. The 8 large blade energy tore through the void and condensed together to form a curtain of blood light that enveloped Lin Xian. It's the Blood Demon 8 blades. Lu Yun used his ultimate technique as soon as he came up. I'm afraid that Brad is finished. Yeah, I think Lu Yun also wants to defeat his opponent with one move and humiliate him. The crowd below exclaimed. The Blood Demon 8 blades was too stunning. The 8 bloody lights were like blood-colored dragons that tore through the sky. Lin Xian stood in place and didn't have any intention of dodging. He raised his right hand, and the golden lightning on his arm jumped and quickly intertwined to form a 10-foot-long golden electric saw. Then, it crashed down. Lin Xian had already comprehended the concept of thunder. Moreover, during this period of time, his thunder concept had become even more profound. Therefore, this move could be said to be extremely violent and fierce. It completely displayed the power of thunder and lightning. The golden electric saw fell, and everything in front of it was ruthlessly sliced apart. The 8-blade energy shattered with a loud bang. Lu Yun's face turned pale. He felt an unprecedented pressure. All the bones in his body creaked as if they would break apart at any time. In the next moment, his body trembled as if he was struck by lightning. His body emitted a burnt smell as he flew out. Lu Yun was defeated in one move. The crowd was in an uproar. Many people rubbed their eyes. They couldn't believe what had just happened. This is impossible. Lu Yun was actually defeated and sent flying in one move. One had to know that Lu Yun was comparable to a martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. At this moment, he was defeated by Lin Xian in one move. Didn't this mean that Lin Xian's strength was comparable to a martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm? If this was true, then it was too terrifying. Lin Xian was only at the middle stage of the spirit-detecting realm, but his strength was comparable to a martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. This was crossing 2 small realms. Even Xia He, who had been extremely powerful, had only been able to surpass him by 1 cultivation level. Chapter 579. Genius, an absolute genius. Damn, I'm sure this brat is a martial arts genius. I just don't know which force he is from. Damn, I was wrong again. This brat is too strange. Below, Black Pearl was filled with joy. She had bet 50,000 mid-grade spirit stones on Lin Xian. Now that Lin Xian had won 3 rounds in a row, her spirit stones had tripled to 150,000. This kind of speed could be considered striking it rich. Even Black Pearl's heart couldn't help but skip a beat. Nan Gongseng straightened his body and stared at Lin Xian. His eyes shined brightly. He knew that this was just the beginning. Lin Xian's strength should be far greater than this. Of course, not everyone was cheering for Lin Xian. At this moment, Xiaohe was sitting there with a gloomy expression. Hearing everyone compare him to Lin Xian, Xiaohe's expression became more and more ferocious. He had come here to become famous. Before, he had defeated a peak spirit-detecting realm cultivator with his late-stage spirit-detecting realm cultivation and had won everyone's admiration and respect. He enjoyed this feeling a lot, but this feeling didn't last for long. Now a youth with a lower cultivation level than him had defeated a cultivator at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. His fame had surpassed his, and he couldn't accept it. Humph, self-righteous brat. He only defeated a peak spirit-detecting realm cultivator. He's not a true peak spirit-detecting realm cultivator. The difference between the two is like heaven and earth. You dare to compare me to this brat? What a bunch of idiots. Xiaohe's expression was filled with disdain. In his eyes, Lin Xian's strength was only so and couldn't be compared to his. However, not long after, he was stunned. His handsome face became ferocious and his eyes were filled with killing intent. This was because Lin Xian had just defeated another martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. Xiaohe's expression suddenly became very ugly. Before, he had said that Lin Xian had only defeated a peak spirit-detecting realm cultivator and couldn't compete with a true peak spirit-detecting realm cultivator. Then he had defeated a true peak spirit-detecting realm cultivator. This was a slap to his face. Not only Xiaohe, but everyone else was also stunned. Lin Xian's strength had once again exceeded everyone's expectations. The members of the Wang family were also stunned. The other party had easily obtained 4 consecutive victories. He was simply too powerful. Previously, they didn't think Lin Xian could win. After all, a mid-stage spirit-detecting realm cultivator was too ordinary. However, he didn't expect that this seemingly unremarkable young man was actually a martial arts genius who could challenge someone of a higher level than him. Moreover, it was a gap of 2 levels. Pass down the order. If this brat obtains 5 consecutive victories, then begin to snipe him. The black-robed elder on the 2nd floor ordered. Immediately, the surrounding cultivators agreed respectfully and began to arrange the following matters. The challenger won, and the competition continued. The red-robed elder's voice was somewhat cold. He had already received orders from above. As long as the young man in front of him won another round, they would begin their operation. Xiaohe's eyes flashed as he looked at Lin Xian. After some consideration, he decided not to act for the time being. He knew the rules of the Colosseum, so the Wang clan should be even more anxious than him. He was waiting for an opportunity so that he could make his move legitimately. At that time, he would let everyone know who the true martial arts genius was. The result of 4 consecutive victories shocked most of the cultivators. However, there were many experts in the Colosseum, so not everyone was afraid of Lin Xian. Soon, another person walked out and prepared to issue a challenge. This youth's appearance was ordinary, and he was slightly chubby. However, his aura was more condensed and sharp. A powerful aura that belonged to someone at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm filled the surroundings. The moment this youth stepped onto the stage, he floated in the air. His robes fluttered as the spirit energy around him twisted and quickly intertwined to form powerful spirit beasts. These spirit beasts roared ferociously with shocking momentum. It was as if they were real. Su Chao, a martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. He specializes in using spirit energy to form spirit beasts and combine them into a formation to attack. It can be said that his attack power is powerful and strange. If his spirit energy can form spirit beasts and combine them with a formation, then his strength will be several times greater than his own. This Su Chao is definitely a terrifying opponent. The people below discussed and began to place their bets. Most of them had seen Su Chao's power and naturally knew how strong he was. Therefore, they all believed that Su Chao would win this match. The void trembled as all kinds of powerful spirit beasts filled it. They quickly moved and stood in different positions, forming a strange formation. In an instant, the space around Lin Xian suddenly froze and became heavier. A dangerous aura spread out. At this moment, Su Chao revealed a cold smile in the distance. Then, he formed a seal with his fingers and quickly moved them. The spirit beasts began to move according to his control, and the entire formation was quickly activated. Humph, what an idiot. He actually didn't do anything, and let me easily form the formation. Su Chao sneered. In the past, he was most worried about the time before he formed the formation because his opponent would do everything possible to stop him from forming the formation. However, the youth in front of him didn't do anything. He just stood there silently and watched the formation form. Su Chao was ecstatic. As long as he formed the formation, he would be able to form a powerful force that would be several times greater than his own. With the help of the spirit beast formation, he had defeated many powerful opponents. This time, he believed that his formation would be able to work again. The youth in front of him wouldn't be able to withstand one of his attacks. Kid, your good luck ends here. You're going to lose. Su Chao sneered. Then, he put his palms together and activated the formation with all his strength. Good luck? Lin Xian sneered and revealed a disdainful look. Up until now, his opponent still thought that he had gotten to where he was by luck. What a joke. Looking at the powerful spirit beasts pouncing at him, Lin Xian didn't do anything. Instead, he activated the great dragon sword soul. In the next moment, a low roar came from his body. That roar was desolate and dull. It sounded as if it came from the distant wilderness. It was filled with endless pressure. It resounded in all directions. In an instant, the powerful spirit beasts around Lin Xian stopped in their tracks. Their eyes were filled with fear. Then, their bodies trembled rapidly and exploded. They turned into bits of spirit chi and dissipated in the air. What? That's impossible. In the distance, Su Chao was shocked. His face was full of horror. The spirit beasts that he had formed with his spirit chi were abnormally powerful. They were even more powerful than real demonic beasts. However, the other party only let out a roar and all the spirit beasts that he had formed were killed. What kind of technique is that? It's too heaven-defying. The martial artists below were even more shocked. That scene was too shocking. One had to know that those powerful spirit beasts were powerful and could crush an area. However, they couldn't even withstand a roar. No one would believe it. What was that roar? Why do I have a feeling that my heart is pounding? Chapter 580. This young man was too mysterious. He probably hadn't used his full strength yet. Lin Xian revealed a mysterious smile. If the other party attacked, he might have to dodge or defend. However, the other party used spiritual energy to condense spiritual beasts, which was useless against him. Although those spiritual beasts were formed from spiritual energy, they were still limited by their species. The dragon sword soul in his body was the leader of all spiritual beasts. Just its pressure alone was enough to kill them. There was no need for him to make a move. Therefore, just now, he only released a trace of the dragon sword soul's aura and all the spiritual beasts around him were destroyed. Do you want to continue? Lin Xian looked at Su Chao and revealed a smile that wasn't a smile. Su Chao's body trembled and his heart beat wildly. How was he going to fight? His most powerful attack was shattered by the other party's roar. The two of them were not on the same level. Thinking of the other party's terrifying attack, Su Chao felt bitter. He had no chance of winning. Thinking of this, Su Chao smiled, brother. It's a misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. You're very strong. I admit defeat. Facing such a strong opponent, there was no need for him to strike a stone with an egg. He might as well form a good relationship with the other party. Moreover, losing to such a martial artist was not a loss of face. Su Chao had a premonition that the young man in front of him was going to create a miracle. You let me win. Lin Xian smiled. Then, there was a deafening roar from below the stage. So far, Lin Xian had won 5 matches in a row. Every victory was quick and easy. These people were not fools. They naturally knew how powerful Lin Xian was. As martial artists, they worshipped strength. Lin Xian's strength had already conquered them. Therefore, at this moment, the entire arena was filled with a sea of cheers. Lin Xian, Lin Xian, Lin Xian. Everyone shouted crazily and raised their arms. Their voices were like waves, each higher than the previous one, sweeping through the 9 heavens. Lin Xian's 5 consecutive victories brought the atmosphere of the arena to a climax. On the seats, Black Pearl was so happy that she danced with joy. Her little face was full of excitement. I didn't expect this bastard to be so powerful, but it's not bad. I've made a lot of money this time. Nan Gongxing exclaimed, Brother Lin is indeed Brother Lin. He is indeed powerful. The current situation had completely exceeded his expectations. Lin Xian's strength had already surpassed the majority of peak spirit detecting martial artists. It was definitely a powerful combat strength. Moreover, what was even more shocking was that Lin Xian seemed to be only 18 years old. He was so young and had such heaven-defying talent. If he was properly nurtured, he would definitely become a top young genius within a few years. This kind of genius was the target that countless major forces wanted to rope in. However, at this moment, the Wang family was unable to feel happy because this matter happened in their battle arena. If the opponent continued his winning streak, then the one who would become famous would be Lin Xian himself, and the one who would suffer would be the Wang family's dojo. Not only would they have to offer large amounts of resources as rewards, but they would also become Lin Xian's stepping stone to fame. At that time, the reputation of the Wang family's dojo would plummet. Hence, the Wang family would not allow this to happen. A mid-stage spirit-detecting realm cultivator with 5 consecutive victories. He is indeed a martial arts genius, but it ends here. On the second floor, the black-robed elder's expression was cold. Pass down the order. Start sniping. We cannot let him win again. Soon, a seductive woman passed through the guest area below. This woman was beautiful and wore revealing clothes. She carried endless temptation with her as she walked. Her snake-like waist kept twisting, and she soon arrived in front of Xia He. Young Master Xia, my master invites you, the seductive woman said. Hearing this, Xia He smiled. It seemed that the Wang family could no longer sit still. He stood up and slowly said, Lead the way. Soon, Xia He arrived at a VIP room. Young Master Xia, please sit. In the VIP room, a middle-aged man in luxurious clothes smiled. No, let's get straight to the point, Xia He said. Straightforward. The middle-aged man laughed. In the future, young Master Xia should know what we are thinking. I wonder if young Master Xia is willing to fight? Oh, what benefits do I get if I fight? Xia He asked directly. The middle-aged man smiled and slowly said, the opponent has already won 5 consecutive battles. It can be said that he is very strong. If young Master Xia fights now and defeats him, wouldn't it show off young Master's strength? Moreover, the Wang family will not mistreat young Master. From now on, you are a guest martial artist of the Wang family. As long as you defeat that brat, all the rewards he has accumulated from the previous 5 battles will belong to young Master. I believe young Master Xia will not refuse such a thing that will bring you both fame and fortune. The rewards of the Wheel Challenge were very generous, and the rewards from the previous 5 battles were even more tempting. And now, the Wang family had offered such generous conditions in order to make Xia He fight. It was indeed tempting. Since the Wang family is so sincere, how can I refuse? Xia He smiled. Don't worry. As long as I fight, I will definitely defeat that brat. Then I will have to trouble young Master Xia. The middle-aged man smiled. Then, he looked at the central arena, and his eyes darkened. It won't be that easy to win 5 consecutive battles in the Wang family. In the outside world, the arena was bustling with activity. Countless people were shouting Lin Xian's name and did not disperse for a long time. The red-robed judge's face was gloomy. He stood to the side and did not say a word. Suddenly, his eyebrows twitched as he received a voice transmission. Then, he grinned. All right, everyone, let the challenges continue, the red-robed judge said loudly. Only then did the crowd quiet down. But then, they were all curious. Who was going to fight this time? One had to know that Lin Xian was able to defeat a martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm in one move. This meant that his strength was extremely strong even among martial artists at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. Some people even speculated that he was very close to a martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. Under such circumstances, to defeat Lin Xian, one had to be a powerful martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm or an ultimate martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. However, ultimate martial artists were too strong, and they were existences that dominated the Wang family's arena. They would not easily make a move. Therefore, the person going to fight might be a powerful martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. However, when the challenger walked out, the crowd was stunned. The person he was going to challenge was Xia He. Everyone was stunned, and then they exclaimed. They would not forget the scene of Xia He defeating a martial artist at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm in one move. Moreover, they still hadn't figured out what that strange attack was. This is too shocking. I didn't expect Xia He to fight this time. Both of them are genius martial artists. It's hard to say who will win. I think Xia He will win. After all, his strange attack is too terrifying. It completely ignores defense. Chapter 581. That's right. Both of them are at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm, but Xia He's cultivation is a bit higher. He should be able to suppress Lin Xian. I don't think so. Up until now, Lin Xian has defeated his opponent with a single move. It's impossible to determine his true strength. Everyone was discussing animatedly. They were guessing who would win this competition. However, during the discussion, they realized that both of them were abnormally powerful. They couldn't guess who would win. Xia He's face was cold as he slowly walked onto the stage. Who do you think you are? How dare you compare yourself to me? Xia He shouted coldly. I'll give you one chance. Get out of here, or don't blame me for being impolite. Xia He's performance was quite domineering. Lin Xian frowned. He didn't know Xia He at all. Even if he wanted to challenge him, there was no need to humiliate him like this. However, since Xia He had done this, he had to pay a corresponding price. Then, there was a trace of coldness in his eyes. Apologize, or bear the consequences. Ha ha ha. Xia He laughed wildly. You? Kid, don't think that defeating a peak spirit-detecting realm martial artist is something amazing. In my eyes, you're not even worthy of carrying my shoes. Xia He's laughter echoed in the surroundings, his voice full of arrogance and disdain. The crowd below was excited. They didn't expect the atmosphere to be so tense. The Wang family members were relieved and smiled. Xia He's performance was enough to show that he had enough confidence to win this match. Nan Gongseng and the Black Pearl were nervous. Although Lin Xian was powerful, his opponent wasn't weak either. This was definitely going to be a fierce battle. In the VIP stands, Blackwood Mountain looked at the stage and sneered. Damn thief, let's see what you're going to do this time. Lin Xian looked at the arrogant Xia He and shook his head. Since you're so stubborn, don't blame me. Cut the crap. Die. Xia He sneered. His body suddenly exploded, and he charged toward Lin Xian like a bolt of silver lightning. In an instant, his silver flexible sword was drawn and twisted in the air like a venomous snake. The air was like a piece of cloth, mercilessly sliced apart and scattered to the sides. An abnormally soft and strange energy circulated within the sword light. Not good. It's that strange attack again. Everyone exclaimed. Xia He had used that kind of hidden energy attack right from the start. His intention was very obvious. He wanted to end the battle quickly and get rid of Lin Xian as soon as possible to prove his strength. The silver sword radiance flashed and instantly arrived in front of Lin Xian. Lin Xian didn't dodge at all. Instead, a cold smile appeared on his face. Previously, when he was below the stage, he had already seen through Xia He's attack and had already come up with a way to deal with it. Therefore, this strange hidden energy attack was of no threat to him at all. The golden lightning on his body disappeared and was replaced by a green stream of air that rotated rapidly. Lin Xian's arm moved, and the surrounding air quickly revolved, forming a huge vortex. The appearance of the vortex caused the wind and clouds in the surroundings to change. At the same time, it created a strange power that drew everything in the surroundings closer. In midair, the silver sword light was disturbed by this force and instantly rushed towards the vortex. Not long after, the silver sword entered the vortex. Countless streams of air surged and instantly destroyed the hidden energy. Sensing the disappearance of the hidden energy, Xiaohi's expression finally changed. This hidden energy was related to the cultivation method he practiced. It could penetrate all defenses and directly attack a martial artist's body. This cultivation method could be said to be extremely sinister and vicious. It was also very swift and fierce. Every time it attacked, it could defeat the enemy. This was also the reason why Xiaohi was so arrogant. But now, the hidden energy that he was so proud of had been destroyed. This was something that he couldn't accept at all. Lucky. This kid must be lucky, Xiaohi thought to himself as he withdrew his sword and retreated to a safe area. In his opinion, that attack just now was definitely an accident. Otherwise, under normal circumstances, no one would be able to break his hidden energy. I don't believe that you can be so accurate every time. Xiaohi snorted coldly. This time, I'll let you experience my ultimate skill. 9 Mysterious Silver Snake Sword. The silver longswords surged like silver vipers. As the sword chi moved, it condensed into a huge silver phantom that emitted a cold aura. On top of that silver phantom, there was an even colder and more sinister hidden energy attack. It's useless. All of your attacks are useless against me. Lin Xian's voice was cold. Countless green air currents appeared around his body. The concept of wind followed, causing the surrounding space to condense. Then, the air within 10 feet of Lin Xian quickly flowed according to his thoughts. The air currents in every direction were different, strange, and unpredictable. Under the effect of the concept of wind, the entire space was like an undercurrent surging, extremely dangerous. Every air current was very dangerous. Not only did it have a swift and biting aura on the surface, but it also carried traces of an inexplicable power in the dark. What? He also knows how to control hidden energy? How is this possible? Xiaohi was shocked. He wanted to retreat and attack, but Lin Xian didn't give him the chance. The air currents around him surged, forming a strange space that instantly pulled Xiaohi in. In the next moment, Xiaohi was caught in a huge vortex. Soon, he felt a violent undercurrent rushing into his body, causing him to feel a strong sense of suffocation. In fact, the spatial storm even suppressed the hidden power of his silver shadow. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Not only that, but huge green wind blades appeared around him. They were as sharp as a bejeweled weapon. Under the support of the concept of wind, countless wind blades attacked, instantly tearing the silver phantom apart. In an instant, Xiaohi's heart trembled. His face turned pale, and his blood boiled. He finally couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood as his body flew backwards. What? Xiaohi was injured. Looking at this scene, everyone was shocked. Originally, they thought that this should be a fierce battle between a dragon and a tiger. They even thought that Lin Xian wouldn't be able to win and would be suppressed by Xiaohi. However, they didn't think that the one being suppressed would be Xiaohi, and that the outcome would be decided in one move. This Lin Xian is too powerful. He can actually suppress Xiaohi's strange attack. What is that green vortex? It's so terrifying. That's the concept of wind. I didn't expect that kid to have mastered the concept of wind. No wonder he's so powerful. An expert exclaimed. So it's a concept. No wonder he can suppress Xiaohi's hidden energy. Nan Gongseng was shocked. Concepts were extremely mysterious. Normal martial artists couldn't comprehend them. Only some peerless geniuses could comprehend them. Moreover, any martial artist who comprehended a concept would have their attack power greatly increased, far surpassing others. Now, it seemed that Lin Xian was that kind of genius martial artist. Damn kid. He actually comprehended a concept. Haima Shan's face was cold. Such a genius can't be used by my Haimu family. He must be eliminated. His tone was filled with killing intent. The Wang family martial artists were even more furious. Their faces were gloomy. Chapter 582. Originally, they thought that with Xiaohi's help, there would be no mistakes and they would be able to defeat Lin Xian. However, they did not expect the result to be the opposite. Not only did Lin Xian defeat Xiaohi, but he also displayed the concept of wind. Even their Wang family did not have many young geniuses like him. Xiaohi was half kneeling on the ground, using his silver, flexible sword to support himself. Blood was constantly flowing from the corner of his mouth. At this moment, his hair was disheveled and he looked extremely miserable. Damn it, it's actually the concept of wind. No wonder it could break through my mysterious snake-hidden energy. Xiaohi's face was ferocious and his eyes were filled with killing intent. The image of a handsome genius that he had built up was now completely destroyed, and the one who caused this was this despicable brat in front of him. However, he did not think that if he had not been so arrogant and insulted Lin Xian, he would not have ended up like this. At this moment, Xiaohi had already fallen into a frenzy. His eyes were red as he looked at Lin Xian and roared angrily. Then, he used his cultivation technique to suppress his injuries and stood up with difficulty. Brat, you dare to hurt me? You're dead. I won't let you go today. Don't think that you can be arrogant just because you have a concept. In front of me, you don't have the qualifications to be arrogant. Xiaohi's tone was ferocious. Then, he used his flexible sword to cut open his palm. Blood flowed out and wrapped around the silver, flexible sword. You've completely angered me. Today, I won't let you go. Xiaohi revealed a cruel smile. Next to him, the silver, flexible sword was wrapped in his blood. Then, with a sucking sound, the blood was all sucked into the silver, flexible sword. Then, the silver, flexible sword rolled and spiraled. Finally, it seemed to come alive and turned into a 3-foot-long silver snake. Its silver eyes were cold as it flickered its tongue. Go and kill him. Xiaohi pointed at Lin Xian and roared. Suddenly, the silver, flexible sword seemed to have received some kind of command. Its cold eyes stared at Lin Xian. Then, like a bolt of silver lightning, he disappeared. His speed was extremely fast. At the same time, a cold aura spread out. When the warriors in the front row felt this aura, their bodies trembled and they kept retreating. This aura was too sinister, making people feel uncomfortable all over, as if they were being targeted by something. For a moment, Lin Xian also had the same feeling, as if there was a pair of eyes staring at him. This feeling was extremely uncomfortable, but he immediately let out a cold snort. The great dragon sword soul in his body surged, and a warm current flowed through his entire body. In the next moment, countless gusts of wind swirled around him, forming a violent current. At this moment, the concept of wind was completely displayed by him. Wisps of wind aura drifted around him, and under the effect of Lai Dalong's sword soul, they quickly formed a green vortex. This was an attack that he had formed by imitating the sword of devouring. Suddenly, a powerful devouring force was formed all around him, as if it was going to devour everything. Although this power could not be compared to the real sword of devouring, it was still extraordinarily powerful. After all, he had the great dragon sword soul as his foundation, and Lin Xian's concept of wind had already reached a very high level, fire monkey. Therefore, this move could be said to be infinitely useful. The silver snake was originally incomparably ferocious, but suddenly, it was pulled by the devouring force, and a look of panic appeared on its face. Furthermore, the pressure of the great dragon sword soul caused the small silver snake to dim significantly. Lin Xian used his finger as a sword, and a green sword light appeared on his fingertip. Wind Slayer. The sword light slashed through like a gust of wind. This sword was incomparably ethereal, like an antelope hanging its horn. It was unbelievable to the extreme. In an instant, the silver snake was cut into several pieces. This silver snake was formed by Xiaohi using his essence blood to activate a secret technique. After being killed, Xiaohi naturally suffered a backlash from the technique, and he immediately spat out blood again. Impossible. This is impossible. How can you personally destroy my secret technique attack? Xiaohi's face was filled with madness, and he constantly tore at his hair. He now looked like a madman. There was no way around it. This scene was too unbelievable for him. One had to know that his secret technique attack was abnormally fierce, and it could even defeat experts at the peak of the spirit-detecting realm. However, such a powerful attack seemed to be unable to withstand a single blow from Lin Xian. He couldn't accept this huge difference in strength. Lin Xian sneered. You think you're worthy of being mentioned in the same breath as me with this little bit of strength? I'll give you two choices, get lost or be thrown down by me. Lin Xian's voice was abnormally cold, like a sharp sword slashing through. Xiaohi's body stiffened, and his expression became extremely ugly. Before the competition, he didn't put Lin Xian in his eyes at all, so he immediately insulted Lin Xian with his words. However, he didn't expect that he couldn't defeat his opponent at all, and that his opponent would return the same words he had said to him. There was nothing uglier than this. He was simply slapping his own face. For a moment, Xiaohi was in a dilemma. His handsome face was twisted beyond recognition, and he wanted nothing more than to find a hole to crawl into. Everyone was also stunned. They had originally thought that this would be a fierce battle between a dragon and a tiger. However, they didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful, and he directly suppressed Xiaohi to the point where he couldn't even raise his head. Not only that, but Xiaohi also paid the price for his previous insolence. It could be said that he had lost all his face. This Xiaohi is really unlucky. He was so strong before, but who would have thought that he would lose so badly? Sigh, it seems that people can't be too arrogant, or they won't know when they'll be slapped in the face. And it's the kind that slaps his own face too sullen. Everyone discussed, and there was a hint of mockery in their words. They were just spectators, so of course they had to support the strong. Moreover, Xiaohi's arrogant attitude had made them very unhappy. The Wang family's faces were gloomy and ugly. Xiaohi was an expert that they had spent a lot of money to hire to snipe Lin Xian's record of all victories. However, they didn't expect that the expert in their eyes couldn't even withstand a single blow, and was completely beaten up. Trash, you're simply trash. You can't even do a small thing well. On the second floor, the black-clothed elder was abnormally angry, and a terrifying aura rose from his body. This aura only floated around him and didn't spread out. Otherwise, the entire arena wouldn't be able to withstand it. Elder, this is indeed my mistake this time. I'll arrange for people to come, the middle-aged man said in a trembling voice. Go, don't find outsiders this time. Call out the experts of our family. This kid is a little strange. I'm afraid that ordinary warriors won't be able to handle him. If you make another mistake this time, don't come to see me. Yes. The middle-aged man's body trembled, and he quickly retreated. In the arena, Xiaohi's face was ferocious, and his heart was unwilling. He still wanted to stall for time, but Lin Xian didn't give him a chance at all. He flashed in front of him and kicked him out of the arena. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.